Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me this week, he's back on the show, and we're glad to have him. What's up, Chuck? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Vince. It's good to be back. Everybody, nice to see you again. Sorry for being a few minutes behind. That's my fault. I thought I had this little frame drop issue fixed with my camera, but it's still here, so just ignore it.
You're fine. You're fine. In the end, it looks good, and you sound good, and that's what's important. Look, we had to put up with Tom for years, both being bad at video and audio. You're like, yeah, at least 60-70% better than that, so you're in. Of course, Chuck, Strength Hammer himself. By the way, I know I've told you this. Your hair looks so much better since you cut it. I just want to say that. I advocate for you having the haircut. I'm just
Thank you.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
That's all.
It's
We don't compliment each
cycle.
other enough as men, and I want to say I like how your hair looks when it's shorter. There you go.
Well, thank you. Well, to reciprocate, Vince, I love how you have personified your fitness journey. You
Yeah.
look great. You
Thanks, man.
continue to look great. You didn't bounce back. You're looking fantastic.
I'm staying down. I'm down a little more actually recently, so I'm quite happy. I've been
Nice.
tightening up. So, at any rate, yes, it's all a journey we're here on together. All of you out there watching today, we're going to talk about. This is a hard episode to name. Okay, I really love the concept of this, but
Yeah.
like it's really hard to get into a name. So everybody like type stuff in the chat a lot so that YouTube thinks this is like the littest show of the year, so that other people come watch it. Okay, so like make a lot of chat and stuff like that, chat and super chat and do all those things that make YouTube go, yeah, cool, everybody should watch this. Okay, yeah, I did, Hades. My hair does look great. Yeah, that's the but what we're going to look at today is the delta between how a character is portrayed in the or a unit or whatever, right? Doesn't have to be somebody named. How something is portrayed in the story, in the lore, in the narrative, right? And then how it's portrayed in rules, right? So it actually gets in the game. Okay. So what made me think about this was I had a conversation with Uncle Adam when we were doing our weekly meeting, and we were just talking about the new animated thing with the 4 Space Marines, right? It's got that dude from Space Marine in it, and it had, you know what I'm talking about? It's like the 4.
The secret weapon. Secret weapon.
Yeah,
secret levels.
The
Sorry,
secret
secret
level,
levels.
whatever it was. There you go. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So yeah, the secret level where you got like the 4 Space Marines and like and they go to attack the Zinch guy, like they're dropping down on this planet. And like they're just Ultramarines, as near as I can tell. Like I'm sure they're sergeants or something special or whatever.
They're Primaris. Come on.
Yeah, sure. But like the dude shoulder checks a vehicle, like just shoulder checks it and flips it,
Yep.
right? Okay. So, you know, my point is that whereas in the game it's like 10 strength 3 lasgun shots come at them, like somebody's dying probably mathematically,
Yeah.
right? There's just like there's the delta between how Space Marines are portrayed in like fiction and lore in the story and how Space Marines are portrayed in or how their rules work in the game is like just miles
Space Marines,
apart.
Space Marines is probably the widest gap between
Yeah.
that Ludo narrative dissonance versus
Yes.
Ludo narrative harmony.
Absolutely. And so and by the way, not to like anything, but the secret level of the
Great.
Warhammer one.
I loved it.
Did you? Okay. I thought it was like the
Yeah,
weakest one, second weakest one of all of them. That's what I'll say.
I don't
It
know.
was
Did you
fine.
watch the Mega Man one that was like 2 seconds of what? I don't care. Sorry.
Sorry, of the first set. I haven't watched the second set yet. Of the first
Okay.
because there was like did they release them like 8 and 8, I think? Is that what it
Yeah,
was?
it was sets of 2. Yeah.
Okay. So I watched the first 8. And I thought the second weakest one was the Space Marine one, sadly.
I was all jazzed up. I'm like, this is pretty cool. But that was because I was watching what I feel a Space Marine should be.
Yeah, sure.
But like to the tabletop, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. At any rate, so yeah, some people saying the Pac-Man one haunts my dreams. I love the Pac-Man one. I thought
Pac-Man
the
one's
Pac-Man
good.
one was amazing. Like what a great that's somebody who just like they took some mescaline and were like, I'm gonna talk about Pac-Man. And it's just like, sure, man. Is this what you think
Ever watch-
Pac-Man is?
3 a.m. You need a 4-hour deep dive on Pac-Man on YouTube. That's what you get.
Yeah, at
It's
any
all
rate.
condensed.
Yeah, I could do a whole show on those secret level ones and just rank order them, tier list them. But at any rate, I need to go back and watch the other 8. Okay. So, but that's what we're going to talk about. But of course, first, you know, we've got other stuff. It's not just that tonight. Of course, first we've got the news. And we're gonna start with a little rumor engine action.
Is it the old world leaks that we got, Vince? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, did we get? How did I not see this? I looked around. I didn't. Where were the old world leaks? How was I not informed there were old
Uh,
world leaks?
it's just whoever's been getting the early copies of the metal heroes for the armies. There's
Okay.
Beastmen and Wood Elves out now on the Reddit. You can check them out very easily.
Okay,
Go
I'll have to go
the
look them up.
Warhammer.
I'm sorry I did not have that, but I'll have to go look.
Oh man,
All
forcing the
right.
old world in. That's what I do.
No, I'm here for it. Absolutely. I mean, if I would have seen them, I would have included them in the news. So there you go. But at any rate, no, we start with the rumor engine, which is one of the worst rumor engines ever. It is a bit of smoke on the ground.
Yeah, I know they want us to feel that this is fire. It's just a couple blobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I've early on, as I was a more of a newbie in my painting style, I liked when things were sculpted like smoke and fire and such.
Sure.
But I've come around to your style of now that I know how to paint
Yeah. Stop
at a
sculpting
basic
air.
competent level. Yeah, please stop sculpting things that aren't physical.
Yeah.
like,
It's really annoying. I don't mind a little bit of like fire here and there if it's in a sconce or a torch or something where it's doing it's something cool. But boy, can they
yeah,
go over the top with it. When you get to like the dark elf models, they're just like the newer like Canaan ones. It's just like it's shadow. You're painting shadow now. It's like
yeah.
what is this? What are we doing? Okay.
Like,
Anyways,
okay, if you want a troglodyte spitting the acid, sure, that's fine. It's still attached. I can understand the physicality of it.
I Okan, I saw that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have been already looking up some restaurants. I will cross-reference my list with yours, and I did catch it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Got to figure out what the good restaurants are for Adepticon here, not just a couple weeks. But at any rate, or like, thank you, man, Zach. If it was like a fire elemental, if they came out with like an elemental force,
Oh,
I'd be like, yeah, sure,
sure.
of course. Like, great.
Yeah.
That's there it is. Right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sure this is probably like something launching or somebody on a jetpack or something like that. That's why they're showing it to us. I assume this is how the model is actually connected to the base is with the smoke. So I assume that's what we're looking at. Beyond that, I have no idea.
It's a halfling Blood Bowl thing.
There you go.
Or,
Yes.
there we go. That's my guess.
He's got a chicken rocket. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Because I need to remember to go back and just to return back to this other thing. I need to go back and remember to watch those secret levels because I ran out of stuff to watch during my lunch. I watched something for like 20 or 30 minutes during lunch every day and just slowly get through it. And I was out today and I was like, well, I'll start that War of the Rohirrim thing. Wow, that animation is really bad. Like really, really, really bad.
I haven't seen it yet, so you would not recommend?
I mean, I'm like only, as I said, like 25 minutes into it. It's what I could watch on my short lunch. But the story seems fine enough. But God in heaven, is the animation terrible? Like,
God.
really noticeably bad. Okay, like
Okay.
80s anime. We only had $7 to make this, so we have to like use one frame and pan around it. Bad.
Well, okay, but at least with the 80s anime, it's because they blew their budget on this tech scene of these 300 gears moving in some sort of Gundam type thing.
Look, I love 80s anime, okay? Original, like, Record of Lotus Wars, the very first episode of Record of Lotus Wars has, like, 7 frames in the whole thing. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm literally going through that right now with friends every Sunday. I've seen it, but it's still good.
Yeah, it holds up because it's really, really good. Because when they do stuff, it actually is cool. But anyways, so I'm going to go back to Secret Level. Okay, anyways. Gloomspite Get stuff comes out individually on pre-order this week, which is nice. So it'll be on. So we get the book of formally launched, not just in the FOMO box. We get and then all the individual stuff. So the Wolf Riders and, Droogs or Drogs or however you say his name. I haven't heard it. I haven't met him, so I don't know, and all that kind of thing. So there you go. Yeah, just the animation, Hades. I mean, like I said, I'm only 25 minutes into the story. Seems fine. And look, original Vampire Hunter D, another great example. Same way.
Oh yeah,
12
Oh my
frames in the
God,
whole
yeah.
in the whole thing, and yet it's incredible. I've watched it 30 times. I would watch it again tomorrow because it was so good.
Have you seen a 20-minute clip of an eye moving in a corpse, essentially?
Yeah.
But you're still enthralled? Yes, yes. Love it. Soon,
Absolutely.
let's
Like
80s
the
anime podcast. Let's go.
absolutely the things that are moving being so clearly different as what's animated than the still
Yeah.
frame background they're on, so obvious in that. But anyways, whatever. Who cares? Um, Little Stinker says if the Doom Diver is really over $100, my heart will break. I'm sure it is because it's a
I'm
really
sorry for
big
your
war
heart.
machine. Yeah. So, um, yep. At least it has good rules. At least they're not charging you. A lot of times we get hot new models and it has bad rules and it's expensive. Really, just kind of a three strikes situation. This
You
one,
mean you mean the merworm from High Elves?
oh God, Chuck, Chuck, why, why?
I can't help myself. You
Uh,
know if it's Daughters of Cain or High Elves, you know I can't help myself.
oh boy, buddy. Oh boy. Yeah. Yes, hey, well, I agree. It was like the difference between those two is so different between the first Family Hunter D and the second one is just woof. It is exceptional. Um okay. Lastly, the Warhammer Open with a new date added, the 2025 dates. So now we have the US Open in Dallas in May. Then we have the Canadian Open in Edmonton,
Hmm.
which is the 13th to the 15th of June. You got the Tacoma, 17th to the 20th of July, finally culminating in the World Championships of Warhammer with all the other golden ticket feed-ins and all of that from around the world in Atlanta on the 6th through the 9th of November. So there you go. That's pretty cool adding the Edmonton, Alberta date. Edmonton seems like a pretty cool city. Really
Yeah.
big Warhammer scene actually in Edmonton, though I believe most of it is like old world. So
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked because Tacoma pulls a lot of like the British Columbia folks in. I know Canada's very large and vast like America.
sure.
Um, I was expecting if we were to get a Canada one eventually to be Toronto to get
Sure.
that pseudo East Coast, which I'm kind of
Yeah, yeah,
sad we
yeah.
didn't have, but is what it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like a cost thing. Maybe Toronto's really expensive. I mean, I don't know.
East Coast is for sure a cost thing. I don't know what it's like in Toronto, if I'm
Sure.
honest with you. So
Yeah, yeah. So, at any rate, that's uh pretty pretty good. I'm glad to see it.
yeah,
Edmonton seems like a very cool city. I don't know that I'd want to live up there. It's very far north as far as that goes. You are well beyond the wall there. Long winters. But anyways, um, yeah,
I,
cool.
I do have a quick shout out too for the
Sure.
news section. I know you're not a subscriber to Warhammer Plus, and that's I'm not gonna
Ah, yes, I was going to
debate
mention
that.
this. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, but a second season of Black Talon is coming out, which to me, I subscribe to Warhammer Plus. Black Talon is the one thing that's worth on there, like
Yep.
100%. It's worth it. It's worth the entry fee. It releases all at once, so get a 1 or 2 month subscription to just watch Black Talon, or find your means to watch Black Talon would be what I would say. It's my favorite thing on Warhammer Plus, and it is well worth it, and it's well created.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but positive praise of it. And again, put it on Netflix or something and I'll watch it there. I
That
continue
would,
with my same answer.
yeah, you want Age of Sigmar to grow, put it somewhere,
Where
anywhere that
people
we
are
can
actually
watch
going
it.
to watch it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's so crazy to me. And we were just talking about like, the War of the Rohirrim or whatever, like, regardless of the animation, it's like, on HBO, right? Like, these things are on streaming services people watch. So there you
yeah.
go. Um, yeah. Anyways, yeah, good shout out. Good shout out for sure. All right. With that, Chuck, let's do some pick of the week. What do you want to share with everybody? What do
Well,
you want to
to be
broadcast?
to be honest, most of my content lately has been non-Warhammer related, so I'll set that to the side. You can literally view my Instagram to see what that's like. But
Sure.
for Warhammer specific, I have two shout outs today, and then I have one pick.
Okay.
The pick will be the Strength Hammer podcast. Please check us out. We're close to 700 subscribers. We're pushing towards that 1,000 goal. Going strong, Vince. You've helped out a lot, so thank you so much for that.
It'll be linked
Um,
below. Sub up.
yeah, and this week we're doing a really in-depth, and we're to be fair, I'm gonna call it out. We are the best old world high elf podcast you can find. No one else can touch us. We're doing a full review of the Arcane Journal with the army this week, so check that out later in the week. Two quick shout outs. One, just to my shout out to my local club, the Barn Owls, who may be watching this right now because I was there earlier. It's usual club night. So I hope they're doing well, having fun gaming. And two, my co host from the Strength Hammer podcast, Neil LaRocca, because today is his birthday. So
Oh, happy
I
birthday,
think
Neil.
I think 44. So happy 44th, Neil.
Young
There we
spring
go.
chicken right there. All right. Wonderful. Very good. My pick of the week is going to be for the boys over at the Poor Hammer podcast, who recently had a episode about the secret to painting Warhammer armies. So this is kind of like last weekish. It came out. It's a great episode. I would recommend someone who has painted a lot of armies. I say go check it out. And obviously the Poor Hammer guys are awesome. They're always fun to hang out with. Obviously, Halo did an episode with him not too long ago. That was great. I watched all of that, where he did the Johnny Timmy Spike with them. So there you go.
I missed that. I need to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I mean, Halo came with the facts. Came with the facts. For sure.
The man has receipts. Receipts and hats for days.
That's right. What do I think of the Bad Moon mechanic? Well, we talked about it a little during the Goblin review. I think it's really annoying, is the short answer of the thing. And I think it's silly to have to put that much effort into managing your own battle trait just to make it work. I do not understand why some armies are allowed to just have battle traits that just work and do stuff all the time, often amazing things all the time. And some armies have to have battle traits that are dumb and don't work. I do not know why.
Especially
it's like that.
Especially when you want. I have a local club member. He has the same issue. Going from having a pseudo physical thing on the board that you could use to help track and help keep yourself and your opponent on track with what's going on, to let's just flick this wheel and see what happens and go from there, and let's guess and we'll forget and it'll be halfway through the I think that one was a step backwards for sure.
Agreed. So yeah, check out Poor Hammer. It'll be linked down below. Okay. Yes, exactly. Dadbod said, and now I roll a dice to see if my battle traits disappear. Yeah, exactly. What are we doing here? We'll just use this to segue right into hobby time, which will be related to this whole discussion. I played a couple games of Warhammer over the weekend, which was good. One win, one loss. So nice weekend, all in all. And the first game I played where it was a loss, I played Slaanesh, and I was just so constantly frustrated by everything in Slaanesh still. Just like, I was like, I'll try a completely different army, tried to build something different. Nope, still incredibly frustrated. And something actually occurred to me that I don't know if I've really addressed before. But like, if you look at kind of the armies that are up top, a lot of them, I guess I kind of mentioned this in a recent show, a lot of them have very good saves. So they're on like 3-up saves largely throughout the army, or some mix of 3 and 4-ups, maybe with a ward kicking on the backside. And then they also can do like some decent amount of damage, right? Whereas the armies that are really struggling, so things like Daughters or, stuff like that. Not that Slaanesh is struggling, because people just use shooting, and I don't play the shooting stuff, and that's why it's hard. I'm making it hard on myself, I admit it. But a lot of things like that are very fragile. Soul Blight, all these kinds of things. Super fragile, right? And it occurred to me that as I was getting into fights, so like a turn came up, where it's my turn, and I had 2 very obvious charges, right? And they were great charges. They were hitting units I wanted to hit. It was it was forwarding my game plan. The problem is, if I took both the charges, it wouldn't do anything for me. Like, I would charge both units. This unit would win, but then my opponent would get to fight and just kill my entire unit before I win, because I have a bunch of 6-up saves, right? So the units that can't take a punch can't actually play, because everything hits so hard now. If somebody even gets to activate before you, your unit just dies, unless you have like a bunch of 3-up saves and can just take the punch. So it occurred to me that that's also something that's probably weighing overall on how things are working. Anywho, that was my games. Then I won a game with Skaven, and it was great. It was great. Super Timmy moment. You want my Super Timmy moment, Chuck?
I do.
Okay. I play the Brood Terror. I think he needs to be 10 points cheaper, but I think he's a good unit now. Okay, he should be 250, not 260. But I'm not going to die on like, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. At any rate, I like him. I was playing the Brood Terror. He did some good work, and he gets charged by Usharon, Mortarch of Delusion. Okay, so Usharon comes in, but I've got my little rampage, poop my little gas that gives everybody neg 1 to hit. So I give Usharon neg 1 to hit, and he couldn't afford to use his all out attack on Usharon, so he just had to suck it up and take the neg 1. And he didn't kill the Brood Terror. Okay? So like he did some damage, I did some damage back to him, life goes on, right? He did a lot more. I think I took like 10 of my 12 health, so it's pretty close, but I didn't die. I did 3 or something, or 4 to Usharon back. Okay? Something like that. But they're still in combat. It rolls to the next round. Okay? And because of the activation order thing, right? He's got a couple of much more important fights going on with like my packs of rat ogres that he needs to activate first, or my rat ogres are gonna smash what they're fighting.
And so Usharon's got some health. He's not worried. Yep.
Usharon's still got like what, 12 wounds left, I think, at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a 16 wound model. And, he's 4 up, 5 up. Where's the fear, right? And so, at this point, my Brood Terror does have the buff on him for like +1 attack. He has like the +1 attack buff from Molder. So he's got 6 attacks on his main weapon, which is, at this point, at like 2s and 2s, rend 2, damage 3, crit mortal. Okay? And so I take the 6 dice, roll them, 4 6s. The other 2 are both hits. The other 2 both wounds. Lopped his head right off. Just
take him off.
Dead. Pick up your toys. And let's just say the game kind of turned right there for my opponent. It was not what he was expecting. It was not what anybody was expecting. When suddenly 12 mortals rolled in, plus plus everything else. So it was pretty
amazing.
Good. That was quite a turn. Quite a turn. Anyways, that was my moment. All right, now on to other hobby time. I'm painting rat ogres. There you go. So that's what's happening. That was the less important part. What's on your desk?
Well, for me, I just finished building and kit bashing a small little Votann force, about 1,000 points for because the grand narrative, I got to play a Votann character, so I was excited for it. I bought it there. It was one of those armies, and I know you've been there, Vince. I built it. It was all ready to go, and I'm like, man, I want this army. I have zero desire to paint it.
Sure.
So, yeah. Actually, a local commission painter. Yeah, local commission painter, Evil Bob. He had some slots open up, so I'm taking one of his slots to get that commissioned, because that frees me up for what I really want to do, which is a pile of high elves. Now,
how did I know?
You're probably yeah.
How did I know?
Vince is probably looking at me like Chuck, don't you have 30,000 points of high elves? The answer is yes, but now I have more because I'm so excited for them. So, more importantly, I think Darren Latham did this one, but the Handmaiden of the Everqueen was only released in Finecast originally.
Okay.
So I kit bashed one because I refused to play it, but now it's released in Metal, and I'm so excited to just lavish on this model. Like, I can't wait for this one.
It is a beautiful model, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what my current hobby is just a stack of high elves, a few more kits on the way. And then at some point I'll have a Votann army that'll appear on my Instagram because someone else painted it for me and I gave him money for it.
There you go. Very nice. Draven the Fourth with the super chat. Thank you very much, Draven. Much appreciated. Says, hey Vince, I'm starting a Heat Knights of Sinesh, HOS army inspired by Monster Hunter. Okay, cool. I want to match up each type of unit with a monster armor set from the games, but don't know how to make a scale mail effect. Any advice? Okay, sure. So scale mail is actually like not that hard to do with green stuff. You just got to kind of, so what you do to do it with like green stuff or something like that, or like a green stuff milliput mix or something of that nature, is you start by just putting down a little flat piece, like a cut a shape wherever you want it, like a little flat piece of green stuff, so you got a flat plane to work on. Let that cure completely. Okay, so it's just literally gonna think like you're making a little piece of leather armor, almost like you're really building scale mail, right? Because you don't scale isn't just scale. There's leather and wool and stuff underneath it. But anyways, you start there. Then you take your green stuff or your green stuff milliput, you roll it out real snake-like, okay? You roll it into like a super thin little snake, like this. Like you literally take it and then you roll it on your cutting mat. You do this little trick like you've seen me do in videos where you roll out your thin snakes. So you get an ultra long thin snake. Then you take your little tool and you cut off a little piece and you flatten it, okay? And it'll be a little triangle. And then you just place it onto stick it onto, like, this is your flat part. You just stick it here. And you slice off another little thing and flatten it. And then you may have to shave it into a triangle. Stick it next to it. Cut, flat, cut, flat, cut, flat. And then you put the next layer so it overlaps the top one just slightly and overlaps the top one just slightly, and so on and so forth. Just shingles on a roof. It's not actually super difficult. It's a little time consuming. I'm not going to lie. It does take a little bit of time, but you can do that. That's how I would do it. Hopefully that helps, Draven.
And I hope to see from you a Shalaxi Rathalos kind of kit bash there going on. So please, I'm a Monster Hunter fan, so I'm for this army. Make sure you tag me. I want to see this army as it comes together.
Very nice. All right. With that done, shall we turn to the main topic of the night? All right.
Yep.
Okay. So, as we transition here, just want to say, don't forget to hit like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit, links down in the description and stuff like that we mentioned. And hey, super chat's there. We really appreciate it. Helps support the show. It's awesome. And thank you very much. And it helps when you do that kind of stuff, YouTube's like, oh, this is a good show. I should tell other people about it. So doing all those things is very helpful. Yes.
Do it all.
That's right. So tonight we're going to talk about who has the best publicist in the Mortal Realms. Okay. I kind of set the stage earlier at the beginning. But the idea here is, we're introduced to all these different units and stuff in their stories, right? They show up, not only does each unit have its own little narrative in the books, but also they just show up in stories, right? Mm-hmm. And feature in this both special characters and just your average liberator, right? They're all there. And so today we're going to do a little tier list, as per usual, of my own making, with the standard S through whatever garbage. No tiers. We do our own thing here. So we're ready, Chuck. I've got 4 tiers here. Okay. Tier number 1 is they're better than the story. The story is underselling them. Okay. The rules as they are portrayed on the table, honestly, even better. Whoever's writing them is like got to downplay them because they're just they're too good. Okay. Okay, that's top tier. That's your top tier. That's rules outdoing the actual lore. Amazing. Feels great. Tier 2 is only truth detected. Okay, that means lore and the rules in perfect balance, as all things should be. Okay. Okay. Tier 3 is, look, it's just reality. Like, we have to sit in reality. And the reality is all books are written from an unreliable narrator point of view, right? Especially if you're reading in your own book. Like if you're reading the Skaven story in the Skaven book, everything is always the most deadly and dangerous and amazing because the book is hyping you for the thing, right? So there's always going to be some delta. We just have to accept that. Like, it's a game. There have to be rules. Your toys have to be able to die. They can't go and kill 1,000 enemy models or whatever, right? Like, there's some amount of reality we have to get into. But the delta's not huge. It's more like in the story they're good. On the table they're fine. Something like that, right? Okay.
Gotcha.
And then there's the bottom tier. Pure lies. Okay? Pure lies is just like the people with the best publicists. They invested completely into their social media strategy, right? In the story, they're incredible. On the table, garbage. Just the worst rules. You with me?
I'm with you. I have one thing to clarify with you before we begin.
I'm ready.
Are we taking since we're dealing with rules, so we have narrative and non-narrative kind of combined in this whole sentiment.
Yes.
Are we caring about points values? This is more important for things when we get to the god characters. How much should that weigh in, or should we just completely disregard points because they are ephemeral and they will change whenever they decide to change?
I think we completely ignore points because they don't matter in the end. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think we actually talk about how they're, like, assume they're in your army, their rules on the table. Like, however much they cost to get in there, we'll leave to the side. Because you're right, that could change. They could be 800 points one week and 600 points the next, right?
Yeah. And both are wrong, probably. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're never going to be happy with it.
Exactly. So we're going to cut through the propaganda and figure out where the truth lies here. Okay. So I'm going to take a drink. and then we're gonna get into it.
Gotcha. I got my phone up to verify a few rules that I might be lacking upon. So
Right on. Okay, we're gonna grab somebody over here. All right, who am I grabbing first? I'm gonna grab this one. What is this? Ah, Bellicor. Bellicor is the first one I grabbed out of the pile. Okay, in the story, Bellicor is presented as a scheming mastermind, a true mover and shaker of the mortal realms. Frightening in combat, of course, but also really his dark manipulations are what give him power. He is a foil to Archeon and a favored amongst the forces of chaos and perhaps the dark gods themselves. Obviously built up as something pretty darn good. On the table, I would argue this dude is just absolutely lit the same way. Like, he is as good and frankly always has been. I like this dude has been the anchor for a million Slaves to Darkness armies. He shows up all the time. Honestly, as our first candidate, I legitimately think he's even better than the story portrays. Like, he single-handedly ruins people's entire tournament runs and days and games and everything. He's a powerhouse.
I would agree because immediately his comparison's going to be Archeon, as you said.
Sure.
But it's hard to compare him because Archeon is the doer, whereas Bellicor is the delegator. Bellicor delegates out, I need you to do this, you do this. He doesn't want to get his hands dirty, which does fit his lore. But his ability to buff up his units are pretty good. And to be fair, his whole structure of the sub-faction, quote unquote, that he plays does not exist without him there. It cannot function.
That's right. That's right.
So
he's actually
the
epicenter of his own rule set. Like, he gets his own special rule set.
Yeah.
That says something right there. Okay.
He ran away from Gromdale from Grugny.
Yes.
But I think in the rule set, if they gave us Grugny's rules, I think he could go toe to toe. I don't think he's afraid of a god as much.
I agree. All right, cool.
That's
Very
easy
good.
one. Boom,
Easy
layup.
one.
Good start.
Right.
Good start.
Okay. Let's grab from down here. Let's see, who do we got next? All right. Okay. I didn't intend to grab another special character, but I did. This is Thalia. What's her name? Or is it Thalia? Talia? I don't know. The one that's not the magic card. Vedra, the lioness of the Parch. Okay. In the lore, on her big manticore, portrayed as like this battle forward commander, this unyielding soul of iron that leads the cities of Sigmar to their inevitable victory. The very tip of the spear of civilization and the mortal forces of the God King, given with righteous purpose in the mortal realms. In reality, just kind of average.
I mean, if you are so important to the plot that they find reason to write you out of the previous narrative of the end of the last edition, and they're like, hey, here's a 4-up save.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. Just from the start.
Yep.
Like, health is good. Control, I don't care. I don't care about control. Move's fine. 4-up save, like, you should at least be a 3-up.
100%.
That's before any considering award. Yeah. I could see her towing into maybe just being truth because she is a human. Okay. So maybe there's the thought of she is a complete and total BA. Like, she is phenomenal from what we've seen in the lore. But how much of that is hearsay and conjecture? Like, I'd say a little bit into there, but mostly into the, like, probably more into the truth. Like, she is just a human at the end of the day.
Okay. I'm thinking, so just reality, right? It's just the nature of the thing. She's got to be, like, she's in tier 3, right? The rules just have to be what they are. I think that's what it is.
I could see her maybe tone up eventually, but yeah, I'm not fully committed to putting her there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good. All right. Let's keep going.
That one hurts, man. From it started hurting, Vince. It's already hurting my soul.
That's what's gonna happen, buddy. That's the problem with the in-world propaganda. It hurts. Okay. Let's see who's next over here. What do we got? Oh, geez, I keep grabbing funny ones. Okay, I'm just like randomly grabbing them, but because I can't really see what I'm reaching
You
to
can't just grab
off
Chaos
camera.
Warriors. You can't just.
Okay, Shalaxi Hellbane is who I grabbed. Okay,
Oh.
the greatest of the Keeper of Secrets, a hunter, slayed like what, 8 bloodthirsters or something, or whatever, blah blah blah, back to back.
I feel like they've all done that at this point.
Sure.
Like.
Whoop! I'm just gonna drop her down in Pure Lies. Can we just put it down here in Pure Lies right now? I mean, like, no, come on now.
I'm sorry. You want her to be War Master? I'm sorry. No, no. I have a Heinous Slush army. It's mostly mortals, a few demons. Even the demons are like, who? Who is this? Like, what? Why did you bring her? Why did you paint this model up? No. We don't need that here.
Yeah, she's going down into Pure Lies. Her greatest I had her, by the way, in my Heat Knights of Slanesh list, and her greatest accomplishment was killing 2 foot heroes the whole game. So because the player that was it. That was what she managed to do. So
now you want an instant boost of her. Her passive, which is currently the Supernatural Grace, subtract 1 from hit rolls for combat attacks that target this unit.
Yeah.
What if she was so beautiful that it was -1 to hit to every unit within 18 inches of her?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Give her
amazing.
Something. It'd be amazing.
Give her something useful.
Yeah,
she
is benefiting highly from the Slanesh propaganda department coming in for sure.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh wait, 2 claws, 2 attacks. That's right. Let's keep that going. Sorry.
Yep. Still got that. Because obviously, if you have 1 sword, you get 1 attack with that 1 sword. As we all know, that's how the rules work. Chuck, it's just what it is. I'm sorry. That's how it is.
Oh,
okay. I'm going to grab this guy because I know who this guy is and he'll be an interesting discussion. All right. Is Haywo still in the chat? Paging Haywo. The Tyrant. So not a name Tyrant or anything. Again, I just happened to pick 3 special characters, but a lot of these are just generics, right? The Tyrant. Okay. So a Tyrant of the Ogre forces, one of the most, 9, 10, 11 feet tall, right? Rippling with fat that's covering that itself is just covering steel plate muscles, right?
Yep.
Able to consume and eat anything that it would want in its path, including probably ghosts somehow. Capable of wielding ridiculous weapons in both hands, right? Could flip around small cars like it's not a thing. Able to withstand unbelievable amounts of punishment and keep fighting. In the game, he is a foot hero and pretty bad. Right? Like,
yeah. I don't mind his melee weapons. Like 4's to hit, 2's to wound. That
he's got that old
okay.
4's to hit. Yeah.
Yep. Crit models, sure. The addition to the trampling charge is nice. He does help out his other units. He is a leader. But he's a foot hero, and
if there was ever a just reality, right? That's where we're living. It's like
it's how many people out there, like how many men out there feel like they can kill a bear? That's the same thing as saying I can take on a tyrant solo, no worries.
100%. By the way, the number is way too high of a percentage of people think they could unarmed fight a bear and win. Because I saw that survey and I was like, no, you're all wrong.
Yeah. No. I don't think I could take this tyrant. No. Unless you wrote my rules in Age of Sigmar. You made me a model. Then I got a chance.
Shot. Yeah.
It's, oh man, I want him to be... I'm so torn because I've played against an ogre player in old world fantasy, and I've played plenty in Sigmar too. And ogres, I'm always so scared when I play them initially.
Yep.
Then I get into the mix with them, and it's always the same sort of thing where I'm like, oh, I can win this. I see my path to victory. It's not insurmountable, even though it feels insurmountable, because you put me up against Hafthor Bjornsson, one of the strongest men in the world, from Strongman.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight that, and that's a weaker version of this. But I don't know.
Yeah. I'm putting him down here in just reality, towing into pure lies. Like this guy's on the borderline here. Here's what I'll say: if you
Sure.
just straight doubled his damage, okay, I don't mean
Oh
like the
my
actual damage
gosh.
number, but like the just straight double his number of attacks, give him an extra rend on both attacks, and improve his to hit to 3 up. There you go. Now I'd put him up in only truth because he'd be like legitimately scary in melee. It's not as though it's some magic trick, right?
Y- And he is just one guy, like
Yeah,
one very powerful guy that you could avoid in melee. That's still reasonable to have on the table within the scope of what he is, without it being a concern to throw off the game. Because right now he's
agreed.
just lies. Yeah, he's a little bit lies and deceit there.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, next one. Boom. All right, who do we grab here? Who'd I grab? All right. Ah, Archon the Black. Okay. Uh, first amongst equals of the most loyal of the servants of Nagash. Executor of most of Nagash's actual plans, like the get it done
Yeah,
guy for
yeah.
Nagash for the past, I don't know, 5,000 years or something like
Oh,
that in the
it's
current
got to
time.
be more than that. It's got to be
Yeah.
more than that.
You know, so
Hmm.
like a mighty spellcaster, uh schemer in his own right, like able to, turn people to
M-
dust with a spell.
Schemer within the scope of what Nagash wants. He is
Yes,
true
all the
to
Mortarks
his.
are a little schemy, right?
Yeah, but he's always doing it for Nagash, and Nagash knows this.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. I made a
Now, in
mistake.
the
I looked at
rules,
points.
yeah, he's had some various and sundry times where like he was very good with his rules, and then he's had times where he wasn't very good with his rules, right? So where's he falling right now?
Does the armies he joined give him an extra like save potentially, or is it all within his war scroll right now?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that can buff his
Yeah, does he have like
save
an extra like
in like
6 up or
OBR.
anything? Yeah.
Um, maybe if you have Catacross at the same time, I think that's how you can get him another save. I think.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the intricacies of OBR interactions for an army I don't play. Somebody in the chat. Somebody in the chat. Can you buff his save when he's in OBR? I don't remember. Um, he's very fragile, right? Let's be straight. His problem with
Yeah.
him right now is that he's super duper fragile.
And we say
He
he's
is
fragile with a
fragile.
3 up. Like let's like
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
that in context for other people we talk about. A 3 up feels fragile for him with only 14 wounds. Ooh, like I don't mind his like his mounts damage output is fine. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be more of a buff piece. He's a caster. He gets that +1. That's always good.
Yeah.
Um, I do like the Doom of Traders. Like that does kind of feel like his Hand of Dust sort of ability, kind of personified in a different way here.
Yep.
I don't like that he heals things. I don't care. It doesn't feel like he would care. Um, hmm, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards more truth because in him, I'm in pure truth for him. I think
Okay. Okay.
just because like he's fragile, but like he still can be impactful on the table with his current rule set.
That's fine. Yeah, I think he's at a little bit of a low point from where we've seen him in the past. Let me pitch this at you. How about
Sure.
like 2/3 in truth and like a third down in just reality? How's
Okay.
that feel
All
to you?
right.
Does that
Yeah,
feel
that's
okay?
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm still for that because I can see that because there's a bit of the index miasma across all of Age of Sigmar. I
Yeah, yeah.
whenever you pitched this idea to me and I was kind of like cheeky with it. There's a bit of the index that's kind of bringing a lot of stuff down, maybe lower than it should be. So it's hard
Sure.
to kind of like level set to that mindset. So I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll kind of keep him there. He's kind of splitting the diff a little bit. Right on. Okay. Next up, who we grabbing? Boom. Who is this? Ah. Okay. Apparently another Slanesh person.
Okay.
Sigvald, the vainglorious
Ooh.
one. The most beautiful servant of Slanesh, the perfect. Obviously he's trapped in a mirror for a long time, coming from the
Hmm.
old world, one of the greatest, holds fighting for the title of, sort of greatest swordsman or whatever warrior in the mortal realms, along with a few other title contenders.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, in the story, he is always portrayed as just being like unmatched, right? Unless with
Um, Unless
with what he
Trog.
fights.
Unless Trog appears and Trog has to use the restroom, then Trog wins.
Yes, to be fair, it wasn't Trog. It was
Was it?
what's his name? The white who did it, and then Trog peed on him.
Oh, sure, yeah. That's
Yes. It was because he kept killing him, like he kept defeating the what was the name of that like named White Lord? I can't even remember his name from the old world.
fair. I'll find it while we do it here.
Yeah. But anyways, they had a fight. He killed the thing. It stood back up. He killed the thing. It stood back up. He killed the thing. It stood back up. And then eventually he got a hit in, and he put him down for good. But then he had been so wounded and beleaguered by the fight. Krell. Thank you, Mike
Krell,
Davis.
yep.
Krell, yes.
Nice.
Like
That's
he
for
beat
me.
Krell, but it cost him like his beauty.
His hand and his beauty and everything.
Yes, right. And then that's when the dumb troll came in. At any rate, so my answer, having piloted Sigvald a lot, okay, like I shove this guy into every army I can, because I think he is amazing and beautiful, and this is exactly the kind of foot hero I want to play. The reality is he's down here in just reality, right? Is as cool as he's portrayed in the story, he can do some work. He can get in there on a good charge, and like he does ignore ward saves. Like he has some abilities, but ultimately he'll fold. Like he's a 3-up, 4-up, which is nice and tough, but he's still just 7 wounds. Stuff happens. He gets brought down. He doesn't kill his way through an entire army of fire slayers like they portrayed him in the story or doing or whatever. Right.
I think Sigvald too, like as far as the scope of the rules goes, I think he suffers from the army he's in.
Yeah.
Not that he
Yeah.
can never be in a different army, but like there's a couple armies where I think, oh man, if I had a Sigvald model, that would be an automatic ad. Just for like the extra output it would give,
Yeah.
extra threat.
Yep. I want him to be better. He needs like I like that he's solely focused on himself.
You
He
don't
just
want
needs
him to
do
be
more.
better. Bring out the inner Slanesh. We demand that he is better. All right,
Yes.
Games Workshop, you're listening. We demand this. All right.
Yeah.
We won't riot because we're too busy. We
in
demand.
doing the fan thing, I was thinking about how much Slanesh do I want to do when I do the fan rewrite episode. Cameron, thank you very much for the super chat. Thanks for everything. I appreciate all you do. Well, I appreciate you, Cameron. Thank you very much, brother. And Thomas said Laura supports this ranking of Sigvald in just reality. That's good. Okay. Yeah. He just needs more if he's going to be that kind of actual scary foot assassin guy. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Who's next? What are next? No, we don't want to save that one. I saw who I grabbed. I want to save that one.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Kairos. Kairos Fate Weaver.
Oh
Big
my
chicken.
gosh.
Chicken.
Kairos Fate Weaver. All right, we hold on. We got to take the take
Super
the
Lord of Change,
the world.
perfect knowledge of the past and the future, one of the great arbiters of Tzeentch's, devious plans throughout the mortal realms. Right? Okay.
Yeah. Caleb, and we assume Caleb is not piloting him.
Correct.
Oh man. Okay, first of all, it's passive. I don't care that he gets extra text. He's a sorcerer. Let's ignore that. Beacon of Sorcery, casting rolls,
Good.
other disciples of Tzeentch. That's pretty good within that 12 inches.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that
change the-
special ability he
Change
has
the
where he
lows
can just...
D6.
Yeah.
I just want to auto-cast. That's pretty solid. That's a good thing. That fits what his lore is. He's like, oh, no. I know I cast this.
How about that ability to let him reuse a battle tactic? How about that? Straight cheating. Fail a battle tactic? No, you didn't. No, you
Nope.
didn't.
I didn't at all. That, in the scope of the rules, puts him all the way near the top.
I agree.
Pretty quickly.
Yep. I agree. Kairos is another one of those. He's just better than the story. And actually, quite a bit so. In the story, he almost always fails. Like, Kairos is almost always... In the narratives where he shows up, he's almost always the, like, wah guy. Right?
It was part of the plan all along to fail, Vince. You know.
Exactly. Like, he is the perennial Charlie Brown of the mortal realms in the lore, where he's like, perfect knowledge of the past, perfect knowledge of the future, zero idea what's happening right now. Oh my God, I'm losing. Right. and that's like every story with him. But this dude has been the anchor of Tzeentch armies throughout editions, and certainly since the launch of 4th. He is so much better than his rules.
Well, you see...
Or sorry, than his story.
In the scope of things, those little games that we play at tournaments, that's the small battles that he's supposed to build up and win. As we get to the big battle where he's against an actual god that matters,
There you
that's
go.
where he's going to fail because he's losing sight of it at that point.
Big brain.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Dead on. Okay. Yeah, better than story.
Absolutely.
Like he's so freaking good. It's ridiculous. Okay. Cool. What's next? What are next? Let's see. What is this thing? Oh, okay. Cool. This will be fun. Brutes. Brutes portrayed in the story as these hulking, muscle-bound iron jaws who use their fists to punch raw metal into the shape of their armor. They must physically beat it into shape. The biggest ones eventually go on to become, mega bosses, and if they're even brutish enough in the long term, maybe they eventually get their own Maw Crusher and stuff like that, right? But they're portrayed as, sort of living wrecking balls that just wade in and kill anything in their way.
Not to
Uh,
mention, they're wearing the thickest armor according
mhm,
to the lore set, and it's as powerful as what we thought was fragile for Archon.
mhm.
So 3 plus.
That's true. The difference is there's 10 of these guys with 30 wounds.
True. Very true.
That makes a difference. I also
Well,
hit
well
a
what
heck
you
of a
mean?
lot harder
Well,
too.
brutes are the five unit. They're not
Yeah, yeah,
the
but I'm just assuming
hardboards.
a reinforced unit. I can't
Oh,
reinforce
sure.
Archon. I can't take
Okay,
10 brutes.
that's fair. Okay, fair. I mean, they're pushing out good damage. They do have that. Well, that's just the gore chop on the 4 plus, which sure, yeah. Why would the guy who takes the special weapon ever train with it? Let's just ignore that
Well,
fact.
they're barely more than savages, Chuck. What could they do? Why would they be accurate with their weapons? Why would these creatures trained for war their entire life, literal born and bred killers who've had to have fought since they were incepted, be able to hit on a 3-up? That's insane. It's crazy.
So not what was the second tier again? Not the truth, the above not above
Yeah,
first station.
truth is tier 2. Yeah, only
Okay,
truth is tier 2.
I would say I would see. I'm hesitant on truth because I feel like they're more durable than they should be. But I feel like what they say on the tin, which is like their output on damage, is there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm having them in truth, but I'm trying to figure out like up or down. That's where I'm stuck at.
Okay, I agree with you. I think they sit firmly in only truth, and let me tell you why I think they get to sit here so easily. Okay, in the story, they don't start 18 inches or farther away from their enemies.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Okay, they're just like, we rounded the corner and we were engaged with iron jaws, and the brutes cut through our lines, right? Because their downside as a rules, their rules downside is that they have this crappy 4-inch movement, so they're very hard to get into combat because you got to like mighty
Sure.
destroyers them the 3 extra and give them the get to the choppa to get them moving and stuff like that, whatever. But in the story, they don't have to worry about that. And if they get there, they do kill things. That is
Oh
true,
yeah. Yes. Now,
right?
question for you. Would you rather them stay the way they are or give them 6-inch move,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to roll each turn to see if they're infighting like they used to with the old 8th edition
Ah.
stuff. So you might lose a few on the way in, but they're going to get there a little bit quicker.
Well, the answer, Chuck, is I can have the best of both worlds now since they added that plus 2-inch movement
Oh, true. Yeah.
trait, which I take all the time with my Iron Jaws, and it's the only thing I care about anymore as an honor guard ability.
Fair.
Because it turns all your Iron Jaws from 4-inch move to 6-inch move, and when we move around like elves, oh, the game is a different game, baby.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
Uh,
it's even more only truth now. I think brutes are one of the scarier units in the game when they went from 4 to 6-inch move. So there you go.
it's fair. My 1,000 points that has 6 brutes went from, oh, that's neat, to, oh, I don't want to play that.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Path
absolutely.
to glory? You mean path to win. Uh,
Yes. All right. Let's see. Who we grabbing next? Let's see here. Let's do something fun. Okay. All right. That's an interesting one. Okay, cool. Blood Knights. Vampiric,
ooh.
ancient mounted warriors who ride out often from the Crimson Keep as it teleports around the realms and they launch their endless war. Masters of the blade and the lance who've had, their long, immortal lives to train to be the greatest and most deadly cavalry that could ride. and then feasting upon the blood of their foes to heal themselves as they strike. And then reality sets in, and they're like pretty average cav. It's like they're okay. They're fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate them. 3 up save, 3 health is good.
Sure.
Don't care about the mounts. Uh,
Nobody ever cares about
I,
mounts.
I'm sorry. It's a lance
Uh-huh.
wielded by a undead warrior who's seen probably at least 100 years.
Yeah.
They hit well, they wound well. Rend, sure. Why is it still only damage 1?
I know.
Why aren't they damage 2
Disappointing.
at least? I
Disappointing.
like that they can trample and run back and forth and do that shenanigans, but that shouldn't be their main output. It should be
Right.
a knight charging in. Like these ones should be the most. We are stuck in the old world mentality of we're charging and breaking you with our lances.
Yeah,
Not
like
we're gonna dance around you.
yep. Yep. They should have this like super classic mentality, right? Yeah.
They should. Vampires are the one thing that can be stuck in that mentality of that classic nature that they're just failing to capitalize on.
Yep.
Ugh.
I agree. I think they're down here in like just reality with a slight toe. They're like they're just like they're touching pure lies. Like they're mostly
Yeah.
reality. It's mostly just the reality of the game. But you're exactly right. It's if they had the damage 2 lances, they would sit firmly in just reality. It's like, look, they can't
Yes.
actually all be immortal. It's just what it is, right? Like rules, they're cool ancient vampires, but like they're still a unit. They've got to be able to die, right?
Yeah.
But
It's neat. I would like them to be better, but also like it's I would like them to be out of that towing. I'd like them to
yep,
be in pure just reality. That's where I'd like them to sit, but they're just missing the mark with that lack of damage.
we're not there. I agree.
Sure, and yes, I know everyone's out there like, oh, charge +1 damage. Yeah, that's fine. It should be charged 3 damage and 2 base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like vampires should be just be baller. They're elite.
Yep.
They're the elite of the horde army.
This should be like the type of cav, by the by. Like this is why I wish the game worked. I agree with you absolutely completely. They should be like damage 2 all the time, damage 3 on the charge, and this kind of cav shouldn't be able to be reinforced, right? Because they should
Sure,
be the
yeah.
hyper elite of cav. That's just how they should
Mhm.
work. Whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Aligned. Agreed. Cool. All right. Let's see. What are next? What do I got here? Oh, okay. Cool. Iona Scriptborn. In his new form, riding his ragged dragon. The collector of souls for Sigmar on a great quest to fix the reforging. Best friend of Vandus Hammerhand, one of the initial and original, one of the first people to set foot back on the soil of the mortal realms at the onset of the war. One of the longest, like one of the Stormcast with sort of the fewest reforgings. Like he's gone a long, long time in between
Yep.
his reforgings.
No, the Sigmar's work. Hey, Vince, just out of curiosity, if I was to describe any attack as ancient, regardless of anything else, do you think that should be on a 4+ to hit?
In general, no. In general,
Okay,
no.
all right. Just checking.
Yes.
For Thorax, Ancient Claws on a 4+, but it's high damage. I like that. Being on a dragon does put you up there immediately. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty good.
Double priest, right? He's a priest too.
I do like the breast shooting combat. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Lightning Tempest. His prayers. His prayers are going to be like what makes or breaks him, I feel.
And he's got some good prayer options. Stormcast have good prayers.
He does. I don't hate the War Master on him. Priest 2, Fly. I still kind of just want to put him in Truth, though.
Yeah, I agree. Murgonk
Yeah.
says, I mean, maybe a little bit of better than story, just a little.
Sure.
But yeah. Murgonk says his Soulbreaker named weapon is worse than a Lord Celestant. Ionis doesn't know the way to the armory. What's going on? Yes. I agree.
That's fair. That's fair, Margonk, yeah.
Yeah, I think for the most part, he's only Truth. He's portrayed as being pretty awesome. He is pretty awesome. I think he could be a little more awesome, but he's pretty good. He's mostly only Truth.
I think he kind of suffers from what we've all seen, let's say, like the 9th, 10th, 11th Doctor for Dr. Hill.
Sure.
He's running around, I'm so clever, but we never actually see it. I feel like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
in that boat. We haven't seen him be as awesome as we feel he is based on what we've heard.
Yeah.
Like, if we see him go out there and be like, "Oh, what's this? Two bloodthirsters? I got this, no problem," and he just Narians it, sure, then there's a different thing. But he hasn't really done much besides yell at what's his face,
Yeah, Vandus.
Evandus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. They did give Matt Smith some better chances to be really clever, I'll say.
Oh, they did.
Um,
Yeah, he was the best chance. What was the one after? That's where it really let me down.
Peter Capaldi. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, he's older character person playing the character. I expected a lot more cleverness, and they just didn't know how to write it.
Yeah.
Not that Capaldi
Agreed.
did it bad. I'm just saying the writing was not as solid.
I'm with you. I'm with you completely. Welcome to Doctor Who chat, where we talk about of the new series of Who, the nuances of the different
Hey,
doctors.
quick question, just to get it in there. Has there been a Doctor Who Magic the Gathering set yet?
There has, yes.
All right, there we go. Magic the Gathering chat. We got it done.
It was a commander set, so all you had to do was buy the 4 decks and you got all the cards. So
Oh, amazing.
It was one of the
Love
good
it.
ones. So I like when they do
Nice.
that because it means that I don't have to go out and buy a bunch of dumb boxes for stuff I don't like. I happen to like Doctor Who, but like whatever.
Yes.
You get it. It's nice. It's nice to just be able to get the whole like I buy these things, I get these cards. We're done. We're done now.
Yeah. If you want to look at the opposite, look at Pokemon cards, which is something I enjoy and I refuse to do right now because, dear God, people are crazy.
There you go. So yeah, Ionis, good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, let's see. Let's grab from down here somewhere. What do we got? We have Blight Kings. The old Blight Kings, generally portrayed as these sorts of like, lords of Nurgle's favor. Just basically unstoppable. Weapons don't you cut them, you stab them, nothing stops them. They've got sort of like super zombie disease infection powers, right?
I've scrolled down to the bottom. I'm getting used to this flow. As you're reciting this stuff, I scrolled down to the bottom to the lore. Two things stood out to me. All but immune to pain.
Yes.
Ward 5+. Okay, good start. Not
Good
upset
start.
about this so far.
Sure.
Yep. Scroll up, see 3+. I'm happy.
Yes.
Health is 3. I feel like Nurgle would give him a little bit bonus, but we're not going to hold that against him. Maybe Nurgle.
Yeah, they used to be 4, but they got reset down to 3 at the rules change when they got indexed.
I don't know why they're attacking in combat at all. Let's move on. 4 attacks, I guess. That's pretty good. That's
they
not
make
bad.
they're classic
Weighted
a lot
dice,
of
weighted
swingies.
dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, weighted dice, weighted dice.
I'll say this.
End of turn. Okay, yeah. I'm a little bit wishy-washy on this. I'm not sure where I should put them.
I think here's where I am with them. Blade Kings in the story are portrayed as pretty horrendous foes to fight against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's mostly correct in the actual game.
Okay.
Nurgle has been doing okay. Their win rate's been doing pretty decent, and the reality is most of those armies have been buttressed by big packs of Blight Kings. Like that's just actually reality right now. The 3-up, 5-up is hard to shift, so they can get in there in a lot of fights. They do.
Let's be honest. If you reinforce them, you're probably going to put them on a 2-up.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just be real.
So they're just like actually pretty decently tough. They have enough weight of dice plus the disease plus everything that they can get in there with a little damage. They're certainly not a super hammer or anything like that, but they'll work things down and they're pretty tough. I think they're pretty firmly only truth. They're actually pretty decent right now. The story portrays them as such. Pretty scary to fight. And if I lined up against, let's be real, if I lined up against 30 of these things, I would be pretty scared about that particular matchup. And here they are.
Yeah, I was saying the last time I've seen them in the story was not the current Vermin Slayer Gotrek book, which I haven't read yet, but the prior one. They gave him some trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more tight space, all that sort of thing, but like, it's a lot to get through even for Gotrek. So, okay, I'm with you.
All right, rock and roll. Okay, next up, let's grab this guy. This one angry boy. So this would be Scarbrand. Old
boy.
Scary B. Obviously,
the boy
he
who's
is
mad when he's leaving and entering. So,
Mr. Very Angry himself. One of the most cursed and yet powerful and favored of the Bloodthirsters of Khorne. Famously, Khorne got so angry with him, he cast him down and burned his wings off, and they never come back.
hey, listen. The motto of if you're going to swing at a god, you don't miss. He didn't miss.
It's true.
He just didn't realize how hard he needed to swing.
It's a good point. It's a good point. And obviously, like a rage machine now famously over AOS's history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has had many different sort of takes on his rules. Early versions of this dude were absolute nightmares. We all remember early AOS when this guy was showing up all over the place because he would just come in and just do ungodly numbers of mortal wounds with carnage
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Yep.
As he stands now, decent. He's okay. He's slow. He's not like incredibly tough. He does good damage. It's not as good as honestly even some of the other bloodthirsters. Really, is what it boils down to on average because of their mobility. They can actually like over the 5 rounds of the game, they will probably apply their damage more consistently than he will if you just sort of like math it out like that.
Yeah. Scarbrand is now definitely, to my understanding of him, is with the 3d6 charge, throw him out early, get in the way, and reposition yourself to take care of the rest of the army. Let him
Yeah,
go in and just do the work. Expect him to die. Get those blood tithes.
yeah, I think that's right. Do you think he falls down in like just reality? He kind of came crashing back down to reality. He can't actually
He's,
be like this sort of cataclysm walking around and so on.
yeah, he's just reality. He is balanced for what he needs to be in the game, which is just a crying shame because I want him to have the fun stuff. Like
Yeah.
he was the named greater demon that gave me hope that they would write the other greater demons that were named better.
Yep.
And they said, "No, what if we just bring him like what if we just
What if we
bring
just
him
make
down to
him
the
be
other?"
like crappy like them? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He was actually he was the model when I was because I was painting. God, it's weird to think about 5, 6 years ago. I was
Sure.
painting my corn army, and was it the Blood Warriors and Blood Reavers were just breaking me. So I took a break and I painted him, and I fell in love with the army painting just him.
Nice.
So it's more of a shame. Like, man, Bloodthirsters are cool.
They are cool. I don't even like I don't like them that much, like corn as an army. I have a corn army. I don't even love it that much. But I have
Mhm.
somehow I went and counted and realized I have 6 bloodthirsters. I don't know how the hell this happened.
Oh
It's just
wow,
it's just has occurred over time.
yeah,
So
that's amazing.
I don't know. I guess things just occur. Anyways, yeah, I think that's where he goes. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
next up. Let's see. Let's do this one. This one will be an interesting discussion, but this will be funny. Okay, the Caradron Overlords Ironclad. But really, this could just stand in for any of the KO ships, but I picked the Ironclad
Yeah.
specifically because it is the largest ship in their fleets that at least it's portrayed on the table. There are obviously bigger ships and stuff like that are in the story itself, but we don't have rules for those at all. So this is a floating massive gun platform that also can transport troops around. It is battle cruiser and aircraft carrier in one. It is meant to
Hmm.
be the dominant force of the skies that allows them to keep uh their sort of skyclaves safe, right, or whatever. This is like one of them in a fleet that's surrounded by other frigates and gun haulers and things of that nature and little balloon boys and so on and so forth. And it's just meant to have enough firepower to be like the Battlestar Galactica is how it's often portrayed when one shows up in the fight, right? Where it just goes weapons free and starts blowing things out of the sky. Yeah.
I have thoughts.
Please.
How far bottom does that list go?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um, there's
Uh-huh.
a big part of this is a shooty army. This is the pinnacle of the shooty army,
Yes.
and this is not a shooty game. So if you overpower it, it's too powerful, and it's very easy to swing between the top and bottom of our list right now. Um, I love the thing that you just mentioned. It's the aircraft carrier. I would love the small change that if this thing decided to move, it could bring the gun haulers with it. Not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
the frigates, but the gun haulers. Can it bring more with it? Like make this thing be the true centerpiece. I have a KO army. I love KO. They're so fun to paint. I love the lore. I'm an engineer for my dwarfs in general. I have 2 frigates because I thought the Ironclad was useless in the last edition,
Yeah.
which I thought was a better edition,
Sure.
in general speaking.
Yeah.
This thing is so lacking.
Yep.
There is very little character. Sure, I guess if you bring was it Drakey Flint, he might make it a little bit more interesting. But I don't want to have to bring attacks of another character to make what should be the pinnacle of my army more interesting.
Yep. Agreed on all counts. Yeah, it's exactly right. Amusing Park said there's a scene in the second Callus and Toll book when an ironclad shows up and it's god level destruction. Yeah, I mean that's how it's portrayed. Every time in any story where an ironclad shows up, it's just again it goes Battlestar Galactica from the miniseries where it's like all stations weapons free, right? All the guns swing around and just like wall of bullets goes in the air and like base stars start getting shredded in half and all this stuff, and that's how these things are portrayed. And like in reality, nah. Nope, it's like ping, ping, ping. You killed a Blight King or something, or you killed a brute and a half. Way to go, Ironclad. You'll show him.
There's a generation of wargamers right now that grew up on Age of Sigmar, which is fine. I'm not bemoaning that fact, but if you grew up and KO are your engineer shooty dwarves that you grew up with, you don't understand that dwarves should be as good as elves in a lot of ways as far as the opposite goes.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing that in these rule sets. In a lot, nope. It's a shame because dwarves are freaking cool. I'm an elf player, but I love me some dwarves.
Yep.
Dwarves are cooler than these rules ever make them out to be in Sigmar. From the whole generation out, from the very start, honestly, I think they've done dwarves a little dirty.
I agree completely. And yeah, I think you're right, Chris H. and Hades, who said, Drakey, remember, he can only pair with his frigate. I don't think he can pair
he's
with
a frigate only. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have Drakey. Yeah, that makes sense. Good.
Drakey's an awesome model. It's cool.
He's good. I need to read his book.
I've heard it's pretty good. Yeah. Okie dokie. Next up, what do we got here? Who's hiding back here? Let's see what I got. Oh boy. The Glotkin. The Brothers Glot. 3-1. One of truly the most favored of mortals. Of Nurgle's mortal servants. Straight out of the old world and still kicking. The sorcerer, the warrior, and the dumb one, as we all know, as all three brothers are.
Well, he is the pretty one, not the dumb one. Let's be honest. All right. He was the pretty one.
He was the pretty one, yes. And again, just mountain of flesh. Like when he's portrayed, he is like the Godzilla shows up at the fight moment in any story where he shows up, right? Because he's so terrifying.
I do have to call out just to remind everybody because I can't help but bring old world baggage with me in a lot of these cases. I'm trying to keep it separated out.
It's part of his lore.
Just remember that the pretty one, the dumb one, of this, he would swallow the defenders of Altdorf whole. And he would poop them out, and they would become, what's the basic Nurgle demon, essentially?
They become little plague bears.
Plague bears, yeah. Just remember, this guy used to eat humans and excrete, poop plague bears. So just remember, that's what he was at the start of everything.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying.
And there's been points where he's been very takeable, very usable. When he had like his Blightkrieg or whatever, like he was the centerpiece of Nurgle armies for a little while. Now, the problem is he's just too much for what he does. And it's not even just a points thing. He just doesn't do enough. And it's hard to imagine there's a points value for him.
Having looked at the points, I don't know what his points are. The save doesn't bother me too much on him. The health is ridiculous. That move 6 up, the times I've played him, Neil, happy birthday again, Neil, has played him multiple times. That 6-inch move is the worst thing in the world for him. Why is he so slow, considering he's so much bigger than anything else?
He's kind of
he can't get where he needs to be effective in the battle. Yeah. And it's hard to say that the 6-inch move is what I'm gonna have him put down lower on my tier list just in general, but that's just like he's not effective if he can't get into combat and can't keep up with the rest of his army.
Yeah. He lost his cool ability to some degree, so yeah, I think he's down here in just reality. I think that's just what it is. Like he crashed back down, maybe a little toe into Pure Lies, tiny toe,
tiny toe, tiny. Tiny. He's still worth taking. He's still going to do good work. Like that backfield, you still got to get through him. He's tough to shift, but if he pooped out Plague Bears again, maybe we'll bring him back up.
Like a
Come on, rules
magic
writers.
taco that poops ice cream. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Next up. Let's see. I know who's hiding back there. What do we want to grab here? Oh, this will be a fun one. This is a funny one. All right. Lead Belchers. Lead Belchers from the Ogres. By the way, this isn't every unit in the game, folks. I just grabbed a random selection of stuff I thought was going to be fun to talk about. So I tried to grab from a lot of different armies.
Lead Belchers.
Lead Belchers. These are the Ogres that walk around with cannons. Carrying a cannon. Chuck, when these were introduced, their rules absolutely matched their lore. Like the story of these guys, marching around, carrying cannons, decimating entire lines of the Empire, right? I mean, I was there, Chuck, at the dawn of time in 2006 or whatever, when this army came out. And I stared down these lunatics and watched them actually fire, like have 4 real cannons, basically, that were like hit like cannons, just had shorter range. And just absolutely smashed through my lines. They were terrifying. The Ogres, when they released back in the Warhammer Fantasy, were just a nightmare army to fight against. Okay.
Right. I had to bring specific Shadow Warrior units just to counter these, and it still wasn't a guarantee.
Right.
Because they were toughness 4. It was hard. It was rough.
Yep. Now, they are trash on trash. They are hot Chinatown garbage. Their cannons fire like they have like cannons from a party.
D3.
Like they have t-shirt cannons, basically.
Yes. That's perfect. T-shirt cannons. Yes. Would you like a random number of attacks that is subpar, and would you like to never hit?
Yes.
Great. We got you covered. Wonderful. You better throw that cannonball. That'd be a better option.
Exactly. Yeah. If they just pulled it out of the gun and threw it at the enemy, it would be more effective. Yes.
It'd be the same damage too.
Sure.
Damage 1.
So bad. So bad. My God. What are we even doing here?
I'm sorry. You have a 15-inch shot, and if you didn't move, you get +1 to hit. No, just make it 3+. It's a cannon.
Right.
Like,
it doesn't have to be accurate. It's kind of a to whom it may address, or to whom it may concern sort of weapon, you know?
Yeah.
But
I mean that could be a lack of classic cannon style shooting rules in the modern wargaming age. But that doesn't mean that there's not a solution. It just means that they chose not to find that solution.
That's right. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're down there. It's sad. Sorry, Lead Belchers, but get down there. Okay. Let's see. Who we doing next?
I just read the cannon is a weapon that speaks deeply to the ogre soul. Like, okay, the ogre soul is very mid.
Yeah,
at best.
very mid.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry,
low
Halo. I did.
Okay, let's grab this big boy here. Speaking of big dumb things, Trug, or whatever his name is, Trug the named troll with a little geode on his back that he's always slamming against and makes him very angry because a thing is on top of him, or whatever the nonsense story is behind this dude. Portrayed in the lore as effectively, he featured very heavily in Dawnbringers, and very much portrayed in the lore as effectively an unstoppable avalanche. Like, that's the best way I would describe him.
But I scrolled to the bottom. I didn't see anything about a ward. Natively.
Well, he regenerates a lot, you see. So that's how he can't die.
Yes. Yeah, but if you roll 6, you can get that ward back.
That's true. That is true. All you gotta do is get that 6. Yeah. He's Ogre on Sprue said being bad is part of our fantasy. Referring back to the ogres. Nice.
That was good.
Okay, so in Dawnbringers, he literally just harries the entire Pontifex Sinistra force the entire time, right? And they're like struggling to stay ahead of him, and if he catches them, it's just all over. They shoot cannons at him and charge him with the cavalry and put steel helmets into him and all this, and he won't die. He's tough-ish, I'm not gonna lie. Like, certainly he's felt that you can often give him the ward. I mean, undamaged, you got 3 rolls.
Yeah, the heal is pretty nice with the D6 on that. I wish it was D3 plus 3 to make it a little bit more evened out, but I wish that on a lot of D6 rolls in this game.
Yeah.
I think he does suffer from the fact that they want him to be a mix in the story of an unstoppable troll that's combat monster as well as
Yeah.
buffing the army.
Yep.
And in the rules sense that it's hard to have that. There's only one model I think that does that, but she's technically two models for 1 points cost.
Sure.
I mean, reality.
I agree.
Like
It's
yeah,
reality.
yeah. I can't see. I don't see it being below. I don't see it being above.
I agree. Okay.
I wish they would just take an option with him and be like, he buffs this army or he leads this army from the front. Stop trying to be wishy-washy about it. Write one good rule set, not two mediocre ones.
I'm with
for
you.
him.
Logical.
Because he's cool. He's the coolest model I've seen in a long time. I don't even care about trolls. He's cool.
He has a cool model. Okay. Next up, we had his brother in battle earlier. Vandus Hammerhand. First Stormcast to touch foot on the mortal soil of the mortal realms, sent by the hand of the God King himself to reclaim Akshi from the fires. Currently, a raving lunatic with lightning leaking out of his face, living in the basement of Space Station Sigmar, put there mercifully to be taken out of action by his compatriot Ionis.
Can we take a moment of silence, or if you're having a drink, please raise a toast to the most wasted potential of a character, which is his mount, Kalanex. At least they still named him with his claws and fangs. Kalanex actually had some character early on, and the interaction between Vandus and Kalanex was kind of cool in those little moments where he was a mount with intelligence.
Yeah.
They really left that behind just to explore his insanity, which is a shame. And it's weird. Listen, this is the best doggo we've seen, and you're taking him away from us, GW. Give us Kalanex back. Kalanex needs to be his own model now.
All the dogs should just talk. Yes, he's fine. Kalanex is fine. He didn't go insane. What's he doing?
Good.
Yeah, he's not down there with Vandus. Anyways,
give me a vignette where he's sitting outside Vandus's door, like that
sure,
good old
just
dog
like,
that
hey,
would.
You okay?
I'm here
What's
for you.
on, buddy?
I'm here for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, give me something.
Vandus is pure lies. That's what the reality. In the game, his rules are sad. They've basically always been sad. He's almost never been taken in any edition ever. And
other than the first, yeah, really.
Yeah. He is portrayed in the story as just being like unstoppable. Like he is in the last story where he confronts Korgus, right? He is cleaving his way through like the forces of Khorne, just unstoppable. Like he's crushing Blood Reavers and Blood Warriors and Skull Reapers. Like he is just smashing his way through. Like nothing is stopping him, right? His hammer is just taking out multiple people per swing.
Which is actually is a perfect counterpoint, because in the first stories when he was trying to do things like that, he was constantly getting swamped down. He was not capable of that. He has had that growth of strength, which is you don't see too often because he's a Stormcast. Like, how can Stormcast get stronger? He got better.
Yeah.
Even though he was going more maddened through that. And to be fair, was he with him and Korgus, were they the first two like special new named characters we had technically?
Basically, yeah. I mean, other than the gods who came over, sure.
Oh, sure, yeah. Those aside, but they were.
Yeah.
There's like that's old world baggage.
Yeah. Yep, but just pure lies. I always want to use him. I've tried to use him so many times. Like all of my Ratcast guys on Dracothian Guard, all of my Ratcast Dracothian Guard are or not Dracothian Guard. What are they? That's the dragons, right? Whatever. I can't think of their stupid names right now, but those guys that he is the named version of, the basic troop, right? They're all Vandus. Like I used Kalanex and Vandus's frame in that to build all of them.
Well, they were very easy to get.
Yeah, exactly, because I had like 10 Vanduses because people were selling them for like $2 back when the game launched. Anyways, sad. Okay, next.
Well, that said, put your model, lock them in a safe. Go get a safety deposit box at the bank. Keep them there.
Sure.
Because when the next edition hits, they give him a new model. Bam, he's gonna be top tier, baby.
There you go. He's coming back. Okie dokie. Boom. Let's grab this guy. So this is the aspect of the, I don't remember if I grabbed the aspect of the sea or the storm, but we can kind of talk about both of them. This is the IDK unit, the big wave rider, right? As it were. Again, portrayed as like these sorts of either martial or arcane, depending on which version you're talking about. Paragons within the Ideneth Force, masters of the ocean, just like really an sort of the top tier of what their troops are capable of. Their people are capable of.
To be fair, it's a manifestation, so an avatar of a portion of their god. So
Yes.
Mathalan, the old elf god of the sea. So there should be like a level of avatar of caneness to it, but with a little bit more individuality of agency.
Yep.
So
where do you think their rules fall? I think they're pretty on point, is my honest answer. These guys have been good in various points in time. They're pretty good right now. You can soup one of these dudes up pretty nicely. Honestly, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what happens, and then we like with back to Trug, where he was trying to do two things at once. Here, they're like, choose your path. This is the way it's going to go, which helps them go a little bit farther individuality. Because I like the aspect of the Storm personally more than much else. Or actually, sorry, C, because I like the arcane version. But yeah, it's good. I think they're just fine. They're not gonna win you the game, but they're worth being there. They're worth having.
Agreed. No, Hades, we don't have a ton of lore around some of these, but I didn't want to just pick people. Like, we have lore around everything, because at minimum you get like the descriptions of them, the stories of them in their launch book, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to pick things that just had like all the lore in the world. I wanted a kind of a variance there. You can still see, and I think they're pretty darn good on. Pretty close. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see in the one book a couple ago, Gotrek face off against one fully.
Sure.
That would have been fun, like Avatar of God versus Avatar of God.
Yeah,
very interesting.
I would have put my money on Gotrek still, but hey, that's all right.
Oh, always, it's his book.
Indeed. All right, next up, we got Moon Clan. Well, I happen to have a picture of Shudas here, but it could be Moon Clan Shudas or Stabas. Effectively, the little masses of goblins, right? So the Moon Clan masses is what we're dealing with here, Chuck. Generally portrayed in the story as feckless, fearful, tiny little things that can't fight, win only through extreme numbers, and are otherwise very easy to kill in mass.
Now, I have to pull you back for a second because I play Old World. Mm-hmm. Do they have 3 fanatics hiding within them?
Indeed. Well, that's not pictured here, so maybe. Okay. You don't know.
Maybe. Okay. All right. Without that, I mean, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
They're just guys that get run over, and it's perfect.
Yep.
You're gonna have a bunch of wounds to get through, and you're not gonna get rid of them easily. But I'm gonna kill models at the same time and feel good about myself.
I legitimately think these guys fully belong in Only Truth. Maybe even towing up a little bit into Better Than Story sometimes throughout their history. Like, there have been times between like netters and having being fanatic smugglers and stuff like that, right? Where like, just they're a big mass of bodies. Sure, they're feckless and fearful and easy to kill, but there's a ton of them, and that's how they're portrayed in the story, and that's how they work.
Yeah, honestly, you're right. Like 1 or 2 dice rolls shifting into your advantage can really shift that to being, oh, this is not what I expected to happen. This is great.
Exactly. So it's a good example of where they actually didn't portray something in the lore as being the coolest thing ever in the history of cool, right? And instead they were like, no, these are just dumb goblins that die really easy, but they get scary in mass numbers, and it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I see 1 goblin, no problem. I see 20 goblins, slight problem.
Right, exactly. Yes, I do agree, Haywo, that the fanatic rules are not very good at the moment. There's a couple interesting uses for them in like the Regiment of Renown thing or whatever there, but in some other armies, but yeah.
Listen, if you want good fanatics, just come on over to the square-based world. Holy crap. Not enjoying them.
They're it's a different story over there.
Would you like your fanatics to not be targeted? Great.
Let's go from the lowest of lows to one of the highest of highs, shall we?
Right, where we
As I grab Alariel.
Ooh, oh man. You know I can't let my girl down. You know I love Alariel way too much.
Okay. I mean, the life giver, one of the big gods, the original gods, one of the sort of secret council of Illuminati, since we've got that going now in the mortal realms. We have the Illuminati storyline happening.
With her croak therapist.
Yes, exactly. With talking for the Croak. She's got her weekly hour-long sessions with Croak. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 6 up ward, 3 up save, fly. She's a wizard 3. That's great. Love to see that. I mean, I put the rules down for a second just to verify.
Yeah.
I will always. I bought Alariel as an excuse to place. Oh, no, actually, no. I bought Sylvaneth as an excuse to play Alariel.
There you go. Check. Makes complete sense, and I support this decision.
She constantly regrows it. I don't think. I think in the story she's much better because she's literally rediverted waterfalls and the entire aspects of her realm. She's not stronger than what her lore is. But man, as a goddess of life, I feel that her rules do represent that. She's healing. She's doing nonstop stuff. She gets bringing, she still has the summon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still bringing the trees back. I don't care about her attacks. I don't care that she has one shot with the Kurnos spear. I don't care about that. I care about my goddess is there going, you're alive, you're alive, you're alive, and we're operating it. And she does that to me.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think that she is in only truth. Again, her singular problem has always been the various elements of her fragility, right? Like that she is relatively easy to sort of hit hard. But that being said, if that's the only place where she's deviating from the lore, it's like, I'm okay with it. She does everything else exactly as you would expect her to, exactly as she's portrayed in the story. I agree.
I kind of wish that they would change up the beetle from being like, oh, bonuses on the charge for damage to give some sort of other buff. I don't know what that buff would be, but I don't. I know Lariel's more of that war aspect now, but like I still don't feel like she should be the thing in combat.
Sure. I mean,
she should be supporting nearby.
Sure. I am okay with it. I like the big beetle. I think he's cute. My wife hates it. She thinks it's like the scariest thing that I've painted.
Oh, beetle's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have any spiders. That would truly break her. But there we go. All right. We'll pause here for a second to say if you're watching and you're enjoying it, we want to hear your opinions too. Give us your shout in the comments. Tell us, be chatting. Tell us where you think they belong. Don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe and do all those things. And thank you to everybody who's super chatted so far. Okay. Let's keep going. Next up, Chuck. Okay. Who we grabbing here?
I'm waiting for us to find one where we disagree.
It feels okay. We'll get there, I'm sure. Neferata.
Ooh. I'm gonna talk
of blood.
Just to kind of maybe hopefully find a disagreement, I'm not even gonna look at her rules. I don't know what her rules are. I know
like
about Neferata.
Okay now is the real answer. That's
okay. I know Neferata from the old world. Yeah. She manipulated every aspect of most governments on some level.
Sure.
She controlled war.
The ultimate political player.
Yeah. She was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that got under her skin was what's her face? Her sister, the Tomb King.
Khalida,
thank you. That's the only thing that ever got under her skin.
Mm-hmm.
Man, all right, give me some of her big stats. What's her stats? Let me go from there.
She's
in my mind, she's amazing. She's a top tier character.
14 health, 3 up save, 12-inch fly, of course, because she's riding around on her kitty cat, right?
Yep, fair. I'm okay.
The important part about her is that she does have her little unique rampage, which is if she gets somebody with her dagger, right, and does damage to them, then at the end of the turn she gets to roll a die, and on a 5-up they drop dead. She kills them. It's instant death.
Okay.
So she's got
no limitation.
No limitation.
Okay,
that's correct.
All right.
Oh, sorry. It's I'm lying to you. It's an enemy hero that was allocated any damage points. I apologize. But then,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Archeon
any
can go down.
Enemy hero. That's right.
That's where I'm at. Yep.
And the thing she has to hit you with, which is Akhmet Har, is like 5 attacks on 3s and 3s, 2 rend, 1 damage, anti-hero plus 1 rend. So it is very likely to get through if you're fighting a hero. She has her like little Mortark of Blood sneaky political trick where she can normal move 3 different units of Death Rattle or Deadwalkers at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the game, so she can kind of, to some degree reposition people, move them out, do a pregame move type of thing. She has a passive aura bubble, not just her, but everybody around her, 6 inches of -1 to be hit. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
For combat
all right.
attacks. And her spell is pretty darn good. It is the ignore modifiers to save rolls for the target, positive and negative until the start of your next turn. So she has she can pick a non-monster unit within 12. So effectively, she can make him ethereal. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And she herself is, of course, a wizard too, and a war master, and all that stuff. And, blah blah.
So, taking a little hot take here.
I'm ready.
Just judging from all of that, because in my mind, she's a top tier character, but she's not supposed to be in the fight.
Yeah.
So, despite the fact that her rules kind of want her to be in the middle of the fight, because it's a war game, we got to get into a fight.
Yeah.
I feel the capability of what she's putting out as far as buffs and potential auto slaying for some of the big Gribblies out there, I might put her as a higher tier, like even like above Truth.
Wow.
That's
okay.
that's a take purely based upon what I know of her as a character from mostly the old world, if I'm honest with you, a little bit of Sigmar.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just timmying the heck out of all the rules that you just gave me.
Sure. Here's my argument. I think she can fit in only Truth. Let me tell you what's keeping her out
Okay.
of Better Than Story. Okay. In the story, she is like an absolute political mastermind. So she had a big hand in the most recent Dawnbringers Crusade. I think that's the
Yes.
last time, timing wise, we saw her.
She's the only one that has a subordinate.
Yeah. She got all her snake.
She's the only
girls,
subordinate
all
that
her
has a
snake girls.
subordinate. Yeah.
Yeah. And the issue is exactly, it's what Chris H just said, that she doesn't have like a Bellacore style ability. Like she has the little pregame move thing, and that's what they're playing to with that. But she doesn't really have like a political manipulation, right? And she should have some kind of special ability that speaks to that manipulating the battlefield or the information that the opponent has in some kind of clever way.
Every
Okay?
CP you use on a 6+, it's null.
Yeah, like she exactly
that.
like if she's
Yeah,
within
I
a
get you, I
certain
get you.
range of you, she would like shut off your CPs or steal your CPs or
Well,
whatever. There's lots of things that you could imagine her doing, right? That would play
Yeah.
around with that kind of political intrigue. Her lack of that thing in her rules is what's keeping her out of Better Than Story. That's it. Okay.
see, the thing that I'm arguing against is not that what you said is 100% correct. They've written her rules to not be in effect to match her lore.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I feel like her rules might still be above her lore, despite the fact that they didn't write
Because they make her more
rules.
effective. Yeah, than she
She's
actually
more
might
effective
be.
in the combat because it's a war game, as opposed to writing her more effective to what she should be based upon her actual lore.
Okay, I get that.
That's my counter argument. So maybe we do a split in that. Like I
I'm
agree
with
with
you.
you fully. She does
Nope.
not match her lore as it should.
You sold me on the split. I'm 50-50 in it to only Truth and Better Than Story. You sold me. I'm with you. I'm in. Okay. Very good. All right, let's see what's next. Here we go. Okay, this will be a fun one. Baboob. The Dark Oath War Queen. This could also be the other, that like chieftain or whatever, the warrior guy, like any of these. Basically, I'm using her to stand in for sort of the Dark Oath leadership, right?
Gotcha.
As they're portrayed in the story. So these are like Conan barbarian lords, right? Tough survivors, rugged, pledged to the dark gods because they've had no choice, abandoned by Sigmar in a harsh and cruel world full of chaos. They choose to live and die by the sword or the axe or whatever, right? And the harshness of the world that they live in has sharpened them into a knife, a cutting edge, right? And what do you do here is my answer. Rules wise, what is this? Like, she's the most foot hero of foot hero. She's just nothing. She's just nothing.
Yeah. I looked at her and I was like, all right, 5-up ward, I like that. She buffs something, great. And I was like, let me check out the chieftain since we're kind of rolling these together. I'm like, doesn't have the ward, has extra abilities. Like, that's a lot of words. I don't know. Like, what?
Sure.
Something about an enemy monster, like, that's useless. You're not going against enemy monster and living, buddy. Oh.
Like,
They
if we're
don't
talking
even feel
about
like
her... Go ahead.
I say the only thing that's punching above basic human for me is the ward. But let's be honest. we've seen some humans do some pretty cool stuff to like with adrenaline.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I don't even know if they match human level of coolness. Models are great.
Models are amazing.
Yeah.
Like she's ultimately, you know, but they are all a bunch of foot heroes who rely on like doing stuff that's really hard for them to do that wants them to go get in combat, where their 5 wound selves are going to get splattered against the wall. I think the reality of this right now is that she's crashing into the reality of the game. She's basically down here in just reality with like a good chunk into pure lies.
Yeah, yeah, pure lies. Honestly, the just especially the War Queen, the way I see her rules written right now, I'm like, do you just want to stop making that model? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, if it was just the War Queen, I'd probably put her mostly into just reality because she's relatively cheap. She can take a bonus hero herself, which is nice, and she does have a 5-up ward. She's still gonna die really fast, but at least she's got that. If we're using her to represent the other ones, like the chieftain and the guy on horse and stuff, pure lies. Sure. They're Garbo, right? Yeah. So this is the problem. So what I'm gonna do is split the diff, put her mostly in just reality with a little toe down there to represent they're just like basically wheat ready to be harvested.
That's fair. That's fair.
Chris H says, isn't that the lore, though? There must be tons of barbarians trying to make it and flaming out. But yeah, that's the lore of like the Blood Reavers or the Marauders or stuff like that. There's tons of those people. But the War Queens, the Warlords, they are portrayed as like something fairly special. They lead like the War Queen herself is supposed to lead multiple tribes. Like she's risen to the level. She's not like disposable. There's not infinite numbers of them, right?
Well, I remember there was even stories with the War Queen where she was towing the line between, was it Tzeentch and Khorne? So she was finding that balance, and like that was a very interesting story, one of those short stories they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rules are kind of like, hey, you guys like beastmen? What if beastmen were humans? I'm like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
I want beastmen to be beastmen, and you took them away from me, so make my humans good.
All right, let's do a fun one. This guy has very limited lore, but I still wanted to talk about him just because I'm angry about him. So that's all.
Here we go.
So this is I don't even know his name. What is he? He's like the Nurgle priest dude who looks like Death Dealer. He's another knockoff of Death Dealer. You know what I'm talking about? I gotta look this guy up because
what's his name? Yeah. Oh.
I grabbed him and I was like, wait, what is this guy's name again? Okay, War Scrolls. He is the. It's so funny that I can't hear. Sir, this says a lot, I think. When I can't
this is very telling too where it's at right now.
Yeah. The Harbinger of Decay. Harbinger of Decay. There we go. The Harbinger of Decay. Sorry. So he's another one of the knockoffs of like where they keep modeling figs that are paying homage to Death Dealer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The most beautiful model we've seen in. Yeah.
Yes. One of the greatest sculpts in a long time.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
Exceptional. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I know the artist's name Arrested at Wolf House. Yeah, I was trying to remember the name of the model. Yes. The artist is much more memorable than the model, which speaks a lot to the model's rules. So, the Harbinger of Decay, that really I don't know that I've ever seen him. I'm sure there's some story where they show up.
Yeah, well, the stories with when he was introduced as a model, and they had to sell him. But like he was in the last narrative thing briefly.
Yeah, most of it's just the section around him in the book, right?
Yeah,
I think one of these guys. No, I know where one showed up in. What was it? Where did he show up when they introduced? The ghoul harbingers, right? Remember when they introduced Jaren or whatever, like the named ghoul who was supposed to be a hero? Nobody knew who the FEC was yet, right? That whole thing. Was that like Broken Realms book 1? Maybe I don't even know.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. At any rate, one of these guys shows up in that. Okay, and gets maybe this might actually be a good defense. He gets rocked by the ghoul forces, okay, and has to retreat. This is actually pushing his story up because I guess the only time I can think of him being portrayed, he's portrayed like actually as being not very effective. Okay, but anyways, like if you look at the unit description, these are supposed to be like great harbingers that spread this disease and everything where they go. This dude's rules are just so bad. He's so bad.
Yeah. Well, his lore essentially is he runs around, and where he goes, death and disease spreads.
Yeah.
Nothing about that talks about going into battle.
Right.
He's just supposed to go kill the common folk. People go, "Ooh, what's that? That's weird." Um, I'm sorry. Pick 3 enemy units within 24 inches. They subtract 1 from move, run, and charge.
Yeah. For
Does that matter?
once per battle.
Does that matter?
What
Does
is
that matter
doing?
at all? Ever matter?
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
And then he has a prayer and he has attacks that don't matter. Correct.
yeah. All right, just listen. Nurgle likes its dung pile. Just put him at the bottom of the Glockin's poo pile.
Yep,
At the very
I got him.
bottom. Okay,
That's where
thank
he's
you.
going. Put him right. I put him right at this so that the Glockin can poop him out. There you go.
You should have made a subcategory of Golden Demon entry only.
Yes.
Because he
That
would
is
fit
true.
firmly in there, yeah.
His Regiment of Renown gets used, but not for him.
Yeah. He's the tax.
He's the tax that's required in there. But yes, you're not wrong. His Regiment of Renown is very popular because it's a really good Regiment of Renown.
Funny that Regiments of Renown is where we have our core tax and have our choices on building. That makes it interesting.
It is funny. Okay, next up, Kragnos.
Oh
The
wow! How deep does that list go? How deep can we
big
throw him down?
Special K. All right. Go
The
ahead.
only stories I've heard of Kragnos from this whole edition is he was lined up to charge, he failed, he died because he doesn't have a shrug.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that? What was that title here? End of Empires. I don't think he's ended a single model from the stories I've heard. I think he's ended the reign of us caring about him as a thing in these things.
Yeah, this guy is such a
Like, I'm kind of hard against him. Yeah.
I understand. You're very down on him. I think this guy is just reality because, again, I think with like a lot of these god characters, the problem is he's a big dumb god character, and he's portrayed as a big dumb god character in the story where he runs around and just charges at things and destroys them, and he's basically unkillable. I don't think that's true in the game. Certainly, I think you can kill him, but I think that's just again the reality of the you're playing a game where a thing has to die. I mean, he's such a terrible god in the story, and he's always getting tricked and run around and led off and led astray and stuff. I think that's basically a good capture of how his rules work.
This is kind of portraying towards you, like, he's technically not a god. He's just the last of his kind, and his kind was a very powerful set of beings. But he's technically not a god in the lore per se. They just think he's a god because Destruction are just dumb, and they're like, he fights good, like he's a god. Like, okay, sure. No, he's not, and he can't. Also, by the way, I don't know. I have not heard a single good story about him in this edition.
Yeah,
Whether it's through
I mean,
misplay, whether it's through bad luck, I just
let's face it. The reality of this guy is you take him for the 3d6 charge, right? That's why you take him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Ogre on Spruce says he just woke up, Vince. He's a bit sleepy. Yeah.
Oh, it's been like 3 years. He's fine.
Well, it takes a long time. When you're that old, it really, as you get older, it takes longer to wake up. Imagine if you're like, 20,000 years old. Boy, it's going to take a hot minute.
I don't know if you can rotate, but like maybe dip his toe, like just the pixel of the corner down into lives for me, just to make me feel better.
I'm with you. That's where I'm putting him.
But I understand truth is probably where he actually is, because he is just a being of immense power, and that is what he is. He's going to fail. He's not perfect. He's not a god. He has no tricks to really change his luck of sorts. So I get you. I get you. I just disagree out of spite.
That's fine. Hey, Lotex checking in late here from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Awesome. We have a strong Warhammer community here in every game system. We also have some of the best painters and hobbyists in the country. Yeah, I knew that was true. I know a lot of the hobbyists and painters in Edmonton. You guys have an awesome scene up there, so that's great. I thought most of the people I know are old world people, and I thought that was like the big scene. But I'm glad to hear that it's all rocking up there, so that's good. Yeah. Probably not that unusual in a lot of cold weather climates up there, Lotex. My guess is you've got a long cold season. I know summer there is quite beautiful. But I would imagine you've got a decent cold season, and what are you going to do? You stay inside and play some war games, right? Why does all gaming in the U.S. come from like Minnesota and Wisconsin? You know, that's just like
Because it sucks there for a couple months.
yeah, you got it. What are you going to do? So there you go. Okay, Chuck, let's get to it. Here we go. Next one.
All right.
Liberators.
Oh.
The humble
Right.
liberator, portrayed as a great hero, right? Remember, every liberator is Napoleon and Joan of Arc and George Washington and I don't know, whatever, right? Like something.
Yep.
I don't know. Pick your great heroes, whatever you see as great heroes of history. Alexander the Great, whatever. Snatched from the moment of death and imbued with the power of Sigmar himself and the six smiths through the reforging process to become a being of lightning and unleash the fury of the tempest upon the mortal realms, to stand as the immortal champions of the barbarian god king.
What you missed is they are also all very greedy. And they like certain spots on the ground. They're like, no, this is our spot.
This is our spot.
You can't take this spot from us. This is the hill we will die upon. And die they will. Meh.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be honest. This is pure lies. This is pure Sigmarian propaganda.
It's pure, yeah. You remember when these guys used to be like the baseline where like every battle line unit was based on them.
Balanced off of them, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Now they're just like, well, if we just boop down on the bottom, let's
Yeah.
There's not a hero among them. Sigmar has clearly just he just opened the floodgate. You can just sign up. You can be like, I want to be a Stormcast. He's like, cool, let's go.
You're in. Recruitment. We got a recruitment drive going on. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Who's next? Okay. Here we go. Let's got this one out here. The Gaunt Summoner.
Ooh.
One of the lords of sorcery of Tzeentch. Allegedly, there's only 9 of these guys in the entire Mortal Realms.
And Archeon controls them all. Yep.
Yeah, because they show up in every freaking battle ever. But yeah, Sigmar did lie, Andre, about how good liberators were. You're not wrong there. Obviously awesome sorcerers. They fly around in their Silver Tower spaceships. I'm just going to come down strong on this one. Okay.
All right.
They're better than the story, especially in their current incarnation, especially this one I have in this picture, because they can shove something into their Silver Tower and then deploy 6 Therodons who are charging 3d6 inches, 7 inches away from the enemy, that then go in and go insane, or 10 chosen 7 inches away from the enemy, where they go in and double fight with a 3d6 charge. They're redonkulous.
It's like in the story, they're not allowed to know what they're capable of.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you guys know you have a war tower that only one's been destroyed because Seraphon did it.
Yeah.
Sure. Croak killed one. Great.
Because Croak does have the Battlestar Galactica. That is true.
Yes, he does. Now, I agree with you. Because like you can't look at any other stats other than what they bring to the battle, which is all about essentially putting units where they need to be at the right time.
Yep.
Very easily too.
Oh, 100%. I choose you, 10 chosen a chew, who are going to pop out of their little Pokeball. And all Silver Towers are just stocked to the gills with hordes of Slanesh worshipping chosen and Therodons. It's just...
It's weird. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah. They're all in there. You walk in, you're like, oh, this place is just full. It's like every Silver Tower is just a rave constantly. It's just 24/7 sandstorm. And then like the door opens and some of them just accidentally tilt and fall out, and they're like, to battle. Woo! That's what's going on at every Silver Tower right now.
Yep.
The disc version, I agree. Less so. But this guy, this version, he's got it. So
yeah, why would you bring this version? Why would you waste those points?
Right, yeah. Pointless. Okay. Let's see. Who's next? Who are next?
Who'll be next?
Chadakar, or as the people call him, Radakar. But Chadakar the Beast, not the little version, the big version.
The Beast.
The Beast, yes. The post the after he says this isn't even my final form, right, and transforms in his traditional boss fight fashion. And his two little boys with his blood catching the blood off his claws, like obviously the king of Curse City, of Spooky Village, and yeah, he's he's everything you want him to be. This guy rules. I'm gonna lay this down. I think he belongs in Only Truth. I think he's one of the better models in Soulblight right now. I like him. I think he's great.
I like that he's decent in combat,
Mhm.
and I like that everything he does is about him getting into combat and being in combat and fighting combat.
Yeah.
That's perfectly what's on the tin of what he should be in his lore. Yeah. He wants to go and fight and get blood.
Yeah, my point is he's not portrayed. He's portrayed in the story as like sort of an end boss to what would be a normal group of heroes, right? And
Right.
like to an adventuring party. And I think in Soulblight, that's basically what he comes out across as. He's reasonably costed. He's not a super duper monster. He basically is like a pretty good fighter who achieves some good stuff and can die. But he's I think he's got some decent bonuses he can hand out. He's fine. Like he does need his spell to be effective. I agree. Somebody I think who said that, like acid base. Yeah, like his. But okay, that's fine. Like I think he actually fits his lore pretty well. If you look at his story, he's not portrayed as like the unkillable god. He's the bad evil king of a city. That's how he feels and plays.
He was the best one in the city.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: how many Dark Oath War Queens would you need to kill him?
Right.
More than one. So therefore, he's
one.
a good end boss. I'd say at least 3. Yep.
Yeah. I'm saying he goes in Only Truth. Like he is
I
as
disagree.
portrayed in his lore.
I can't disagree. They did not overhype him.
Right.
Despite the fact that they spoiled him.
That's right. Okay. Who have I got over here? Oh, there he is. I think I'm missing a couple people off to the side. I might have to scroll and grab at the end, but that's fine. Okay. Lord Croak. We just did the Gaunt Summoner. Lord Croak. The Dead Frog. Ooh. Again, 10, 12,000 years old. Who even knows? Has his own spaceship.
The oldest being in Warhammer.
Yes.
Outside of maybe like he's the oldest being in Warhammer that has a model. Let's just say that.
Lichfinder, he lost when he was Radikar, the little one, and then he came back as the Beast. So he lost he did his whole, this isn't even my final 4 thing. He was kind of driven away and then came back in his big form. All right, anyways. Croak. Yeah.
I love the War to 4+ considering he's a dead body that refuses to die.
Sure.
Great. 18 health. That's fine. He's not too powerful, like too recoverable. Don't care about his melee. Once per turn.
He's got his little, Croak bombs he can drop. They got a little bit of a buff recently. There have been many times throughout AOS where this dude has been the auto include. Like first thing you put in every Seraphon army was Lord Croak, right? Many times. More than it hasn't been true, probably.
Well, I worry now that maybe it's not that case just from points
it's not right
alone.
Now.
It's just from points alone as opposed to like I don't want to say, like I said, I'm trying to think because like I said, I have a lot of old world baggage in my head with him too.
Sure.
Especially since I just painted a Lizardman army, I did a lot of research. 3-6, it just destroys units, heals him, like he won't die.
My honest answer is right now. I think he lives in Only Truth. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm like, I love him. I got to the Supreme Master. I'm like, okay, Supreme Master. And I see add 2. I'm like, that's not Supreme Master.
Yeah.
That's good. But
it's good.
Yeah.
He's good. I don't think he's like immediate auto include anymore, but I think he's pretty good. He's kind of the most recent update got him back up there a little bit off his index version. Yeah, I think he's truth.
Yeah.
Croak is truth.
He's strong. He's pure truth. He's strong. He's capable. You pay the points for him. He's a Lariel's therapist. You can't go wrong there.
Yep. Okay. Next up, Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, or if you prefer, Prince Vorterai. I guess we don't really know. Maybe I shouldn't.
We don't have the new one yet, right? Yeah.
Because we don't have the new one yet. So.
Well, then he's clearly pure lies because we don't know what the truth is.
That's right. Boom. Down in pure lies. Certainly for the current. Yeah, for the current Velazda, Well, let's just do him as generic Veloster
Sure,
right now,
yeah.
as interpreted, because obviously we'll get a new version of Vorta right here. In like who knows, a couple weeks, I assume. They like
Yeah.
tease that book and then just nothing, just like
Yeah,
radio
that's the only thing
silence.
we've seen teasers of outside of, yeah. That's the only thing we've seen teasers on as far as the roadmap goes, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
I assume they're next, yeah.
But at any rate, this guy is trash. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, for being a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, and again, like anytime this kind of a thing shows up in the story, even going back to the old world, right, where this is a model, this
Yeah.
thing was, these guys are terrifying. Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
you for many editions, and like the current incarnation of this dude in fourth is the worst they've ever been. It
I
is pure propaganda at this point.
I would say if you're a death player, specifically for vampires, and you have this model painted and you're looking forward to the new one, I guarantee you if you go to somebody in your gaming group and says, "Hey, I will give you this painted model for your vampire army if you just buy that new one for me unpainted and give me that box." And you'll
Sure.
probably make better off in that deal. I'm just saying, because this guy in Old World, great.
Nice.
You can make him do good stuff. You'll be happier probably with the new model anyway.
There you go. There you go.
Make those trades.
All right. Next up, this one should be fun. You know him. You love him. He's wielding Gul Miraz. It is, in fact, the Celestant Prime.
I just want to go. Man, I don't even know his rules, and I want to say lies because I have him so overhyped
He's
in my head.
absolutely lies.
Yeah.
He is portrayed in the narrative as just like the absolute, like, he
Pinnacle.
is Sigmar's hand, his very hammer.
He
right?
has the hammer that it's all
Yes.
named after.
Yes. This dude,
He has 2 abilities? Why does he only have 2 abilities? I don't care what they are. There's only 2. Why doesn't he have like 10? Why isn't he bigger than Croak?
he's so bad. He's so bad. And he always has been. That's what's so funny about him. There was maybe like 5 minutes back in first edition where he was okay.
Yeah. I have a kit bash that I did from
Same.
way back when, because he was fun at least, because in that rule set it was wild and it was good. But don't make my model better by not being on the board. First off, like that's
awful. Awful. Just what a tragic waste of literally the emblematic weapon of this entire game, right? Like Gul Miraz is Sigmar's hammer. It is literally the like icon of Age of Sigmar is Gul Miraz, is the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so pathetic as a weapon in the game on a model that is itself sad to play with.
It's just I don't care who's holding it aside. We can just look at the Gul Miraz profile compared to what we know about the lore of it from every aspect, all the way back to its creation. From when it was just created by the dwarfs and wasn't even a special thing other than it was like, oh, it's a magic weapon. It was better than this. I guarantee it.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't care. Like, if he wasn't holding Gul Miraz, he'd probably be in Truth.
Sure.
If they just removed Gul Miraz as a title,
if he was just like some special Stormcast dude, yeah.
He's the first of the Stormcast. He's important. Okay, Truth, sure. Yeah, he's all right. Maybe he needs a little bit more love, but yeah, Gul Miraz is straight lies. Gul Miraz is done dirty.
Agreed. DTZ Miniature says, I put one in the Ogre Maw Pot in a tournament in late version 3. It's decent meat. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. All right. Hey, as we're going on, again, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody who's chatting, giving us good ideas and feedback. Appreciate all the comments. Keep it rolling. Thank you to everybody who's thrown in for the super chat. It helps the show a lot. We appreciate the contribution. Okay. Next up, we got a few more here. What are we going to do? All right. Doom Wheel. I picked the Doom Wheel just because I wanted to talk about the Doom Wheel for a minute. Doom Wheels, going back a long way in the story, were portrayed as like very scary but erratic and insane war machines. And I just wanted to complain about Doom Wheels for a moment. Because they're, by the way, my vote is they're like 50-50 reality and lies. My issue with the Doom Wheel is if you look at it, it's a giant spiked wheel with giant blades on it that also shoots lightning guns. Chuck, you remember back in the old editions what the lightning used to be, or that came off of Doom Wheels, where it was like strength random artillery dice and it ignored line of sight, so it could like cut through walls and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Now its shot is like okay. It gets like D6 shots on 3s, -1 D3. It's like an okay shot, but it's, random shots, random damage, the old worst combination in the world. And it does literally nothing in melee. It's like it has a 1. This thing has a 1 damage attack. That the giant rotating blades are 1 damage in melee. Yes, it has charge plus 1 damage. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But also too, it should be like, here's D6 plus 3 impact hits, because this is a giant wheel. Also on a 4+, it just explodes after doing that damage.
Yeah, sure.
That's
it's
great.
so
That's
sad.
Skaven-y.
Yes. This thing should shoot and roll up into combat and then do actual damage, and it just doesn't. I'm very angry with it. It's a prospector now. Like, I use it to go get battle tactics, and that's all it's for.
The biggest problem with Skaven, I know you love Skaven right now with the way they play it. I love that you do enjoy it that way, because it gives me hope for other armies. The biggest problem with Skaven and even like Goblins a little bit right now is that randomness has been taken aside, which is fun.
Yep.
And I have played Skaven in Old Fantasy multiple times. I've played one where I was tabled within a turn and a half, and I played one where my opponent took 3 smoke breaks on the top of turn 1, and it was his.
Yep, sure.
Because everything, like, that's where that fun of that army comes from, not from reliability. And the new modern style is like, well, we need to have reliability. No, you don't. There's like 37 armies. You can have one that's just wild and crazy, and maybe it blows up or not. They've kind of taken the soul away from that aspect with a few of these things like this.
I agree. Completely agree. Yep. So it's going to go down into mostly pure lies. That's the reality. It's at best a little prospector now. So sad. A sad end for the Doom Wheel, but it was a necessary quick discussion. All right. Korgus Kull. Korgus Kull. Is there a character who is portrayed more dangerous in the entire narrative of the Mortal Realms? He was one of the first bad guys you saw. He's gotten his own book, that Red Death book or whatever. Mm-hmm. He killed a living continent.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was sent there out of like exile of sorts.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That was his way out.
Yes. He's got a cool dog.
What's the dog's name?
Begins with an R, right? What is his dog's name? Ravnak or something like that.
No, Ravnak's the...
No, it's something like that. I remember his
Let us know,
dog's name.
chat. I don't remember it either.
Yeah. I'm gonna look him up. I want to know his dog's name. Yeah, that's a good question. What is his stupid dog's name? What? Why can you not? Boop. Oh, because I'm in the Nurgle faction pack. That's why. Like, what do you mean he doesn't exist? I know he exists.
Oh, does he exist? No, did they remove him, actually?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they removed him as a named character because they're gonna...
Oh, yeah, because he's getting redone.
Yeah,
okay.
He's gonna get redone. Sorry.
That's fine. All right, doesn't matter.
Oh, but he's the old, just corn champion thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. At any rate, yeah. So, look... Yes, this guy, I guess we'll give him a little pass because he doesn't have we're waiting on his new rules. But we had rules for a long time for him. Here's my reality on this guy. No, you're a bad foot hero in the game. He had the cool axe for a long time, and that was awesome. Right now, the regular corn
guys have the axe. Yeah.
I
think the biggest issue is he technically should stand at least at Sigvald's level, and I don't think he does.
He doesn't.
And
agreed.
Truth be told, his lore in Sigmar is greater than what Sigvald has done, as far as we know. Sigvald was great in the old world, but like even then, he was just flipping about. I don't think he ever did anything of substantial effort. Whereas Kull has. So
100%.
His rules, wherever form they are, probably even if the new form, probably won't match the cool stuff he's done.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to wait that long because we saw the extended roadmap images of the FEC, and one of them was corn.
Well, it was corn, yeah.
And I assume that we're going to get a new Korgus Kull model when that book comes out because he that was the whole confrontation between him and Vanis, and there's the giant explosion, and then Corvus is gone because like you know, he mutated a whole bunch as the explosion happened.
I look forward to that day because I haven't played my corn in a while, but I will at least buy that model and paint it up because I assume it's gonna be amazing.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, he's down in Pure Lies. Sorry, Cole.
He's Pure Lies. Yeah.
Hopefully your new model's better. Next up, King Broad, King B, the B Boys, leader of the Sons of Behemoth. I'm gonna go ahead and check this out. He's gonna slide right down here into mostly Pure Lies with a little bit of just reality. He doesn't hit very hard. He's a big pile of wounds. That's the part of him that's true is the just reality part is that he has a big pile of wounds. That's it.
Pile of wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Do I care about his prayer at all? No. No.
His prayer's pretty decent. Because remember, you're not doing anything else in your hero phase in Sons of Behemoth. So all you do both on your turn and off turn is sit there and pray. You just like literally do the prayer to try to build points. And because if you get lucky, because you just do the heal D3 to all giants every turn, and every turn you get it off, it's accidentally adding like 6 to 8 wounds back to your army, and that just makes the DPS check even harder for the enemy. It's the most boring thing in the world, but it's functional. It's functional.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he's just like, it would be neat if he actually did damage, but he has what, 5 attacks or something, or 4 attacks. It's not
six
many.
attacks.
Oh, okay, good for him.
I will say this. I do like that the giants are generally forced to hit 2's the wound because, like, yeah, they might miss you, but if they hit you, you should get wounded.
I'm actually completely okay with giants being 4 to hit.
Yeah.
This is the one army where I'm like, yes, that makes sense. They're big, dumb, slow giants who swing around tree trunks. Yes,
but
they
if
can
you
be
get
dodged.
Hit, should be crushed.
Yes, I just think they should have the damage on it should just be exorbitantly high, right? So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Lady O. Lady Olinder, the Mortarch of Grief. Having this big aura of like depression and sadness and grief around her. She can kill you with a stare.
Yeah,
she can.
She
kill
sure can.
With a
That's
smile.
pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
that horror visage is pretty good.
yeah. I'm gonna cut to it. She's only truth. I think she's pretty darn solid. For a lot of fourths, she figured very heavily in most lists. She has good tricks. She can bring back a ton of Nighthaunt to your army. Nighthaunt have obviously fallen out because of like all the nerfing that happened because their army was horribly unbalanced. Mm-hmm. But like she was the rock and centerpiece of that force for a while, and still largely is used to some degree or another. She's scary. Her Veil Lift is good. She does a lot of mortal damage. She has good buffing for her forces. She's actually relatively tough to kill because she's usually hiding behind and amongst the ghosts, and she's quite mobile, so it's hard to get like a good hammer into her.
So in Broken Realms, we saw Be'lakor and her kind of stare down.
Yep.
Which they're very similar, like opposite ends of like Chaos versus Death and that, which is very fascinating. But she did scare Be'lakor, which is fascinating.
Yep.
So is she above Be'lakor on our little chart here?
Well, the question is she...
Bellacor's really high up, right? We put Be'lakor
He
really
is.
high
He's
up.
like toppy tippy top. I tell you what, I think she's about half in Only Truth and half in Better Than the Story. Because you're right, they don't often build her up all like that was one of the few times they actually built her up all the way, right?
Yeah. So, other than that, she just kind of exists, and yeah, she's definitely not above Bellacor's rule set right now. No doubt about that.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I'm glad I can at least convince you on that to push up a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm gonna swing here for a second. I need to go grab a couple people who are off frame. One of them was very important. They were just too far over for me to get my hands on. Okay.
I'm waiting for you to say a specific person's name, and I just start rambling.
Don't worry, it's in there.
Everybody knows if they know me.
Okay, sorry everybody. Just had to go. I hadn't thought about how far off I put my little icons into what I'd have access to grab. Okay, so let's keep going. We'll do some more here. We don't have to do all these. I grabbed so many. We don't have to do all of them. Jeez, I grabbed a lot of these. All right. What about Neve Black Talon? You talked about Black Talons earlier. I mean, talk about somebody with a lot of dedicated lore.
Yeah. Boy. I don't even know.
What do you think?
I have the regiment. I want to say that she's probably truth because like the lore is good for her.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of now that her companions are a big part of what she does. She usually goes in the stories with the Blacktown show. She goes off and around, and they have to come save her. Barring some other stuff I won't spoil. And she kind of gets them in trouble sometimes, which she wants to run in, she wants to fight, but not all of her companions do want to fight, despite that they're Stormcast. So I think that's going to be pretty. I feel pretty truthful on that one.
Yeah, I think with the Black Talons, like, if you look at how they are portrayed in the stories, they did show up in Broken Realms, obviously, recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I, like I said, I haven't watched the Black Talon show, so I'll have to trust you on that one. But that feels pretty much like how the Black Talons play. Like, feels pretty accurate. It's like
as a team, they're gonna do good work.
Yeah.
If they're trying to catch up to Neve, who's a little off on her own, rambunctious, then they get into a little bit of trouble. So, yeah, I like it. 7 attacks, and yeah, like she soloed. I forget what she was fighting, but she like soloed. Oh, an Ideneth. She just soloed an Ideneth prince and just killed it. Be like, no, you're following us now. 7 attacks, 2s and 3s, 2 and 2, crit 2.
Yeah, I'll believe that.
I feel like I believe it. Yeah, she could do that.
All right, cool beans. Let's keep going. Next up, Nagash, the Lord of Death. I mean, like, obviously his lore is too long to mention. Mr. speaks in all capital letters. Truly my favorite thing about him is every time he talks in anything where he talks, he is always talking in all capital letters.
I know, and I know he doesn't need to eat, but I always picture like him like ordering food at like a Wendy's drive-thru, but like, I shall take the number 6.
Yes.
But it's all capital stuff. It's like, sir, this is a Wendy's? Yes, and I shall have the number 6. Okay.
I would like an extra fry. I wish to dip it into my malt. My Frosty demands salty fries. Nagash enjoys the mix of salt and sweet that it provides.
Good old Nagash.
I'm sorry if you're wearing headphones and I'm deafening you.
Sorry, yeah. Boy, I gotta rely on you. There's so much to go off of him, and
my answer is there's no way he could be better than the story, because in the story, he is the god of death, right? Now, flip side, he loses all the time. Okay?
Yeah.
In his stories, he is the constant loser. Like, he gets chumped by literally everybody in the mortal realms. Has taken a shot at chumping this guy. Okay?
Yep.
And wrecked his plans. Now, Skaven being the preeminent amongst that group of people who've chumped him. I don't even know. Funny. They're like they got a little chalkboard up. X, or like you're at a work site. It's like X day since an accident on this work site. Nagash has a sign in the Black Pyramid that's like counts how many days since I last got chumped by the Skaven. Okay.
Yep.
So in that regard, he can be better than the story. Now, rules wise, this dude's pretty good, especially in 4th. He's quite powerful. He does good damage. He is a 9 spellcaster. He is the king of manifestations in the game. I honestly think he's kind of like talking it all the way through. Like, I think given the full panoply of his stories, where he is very powerful, of course, but he often loses, combined with the fact that in the game, he's actually he is one of the most expensive models you can take. And he's pretty effective at what he's doing.
Yeah, he is worth the cost of points if that's the path you're taking.
Yeah, he's like a mega caster that floods the board with very dangerous manifestations, right? As well as he can 50-50 kill with the touch. That he's got that. He plays this little game. I think he's probably mostly Only Truth is really mostly better than story with a little bit of Only Truth. I think that's just reality of the thing.
Yeah, because I mean, granted, the times I've played him in a setting where it was competitive, it usually came down. I usually had Marathi, so it usually came down the Hand of Dust with those early rule sets and stuff. So and I usually lost the Hand of Dust rule eventually. So yeah, I don't see him beating a lot of people in the story, but I see him beating a lot of people on the table.
Yeah,
at least as far as the rule set goes. Yeah, so yeah, I could see. Yeah, I could see. Maybe
I think it's one where the narrative has to work
mostly
against him, but his rules don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool to see.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of big gods, let's talk about the biggest guy that isn't a god, but certainly likes to get in fights with them, and that is Archeon, another former not Nagash jumper. He's also holds that title. Archeon, the Grand Marshal of the Apocalypse,
He has
destroyer of the world, the old
has
world.
he's destroyed more than that. He has destroyed worlds. There's
Yes.
an early Age of Sigmar where he's just planets that he's destroyed.
Yeah.
So he's been around a long time and has destroyed countless civilizations through chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown civilizations.
Yes. Slayed
He
billions through
he
his will.
literally held Slnesh's chain in his hand and said, "Oh, I'm about to free you." And then got like a little text and said, "Oh, hey, there's a death guy. Can you come help us out?" And he's just like, "You shall wait, God."
Right.
I
Exactly. I'll come back for you. It's fine. Chill.
Yeah, I know where you're at. You just
Yeah.
rest. We got this.
ZK says he destroyed entire games. Yes.
Not. I see. There is so much. I. He is good. He is
He is
good.
really good in the rules, yes.
He's
But
really good.
he
I don't
can't
think
be
his
better than his
rules.
story.
He cannot live up to his story. He's the old,
Right.
tired guy. He has destroyed more than we will ever know because GW will not write it.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm even so like I'm so far with the point that his lore is so solid that no matter how good his rule set is, unless it's you put Archeon on the table, you automatically win the tournament. If that
Right.
rule doesn't exist, he is pure lies.
Yeah, I think he's got to go down into just reality. I'm not that hard on him because his rules
Um,
aren't terrible, right? Like
I
he
say,
is scary on the table.
well, yeah, I'm not trying to diminish his rules. I put him on such a high pedestal.
I
I think higher
gotcha.
than
I
what you
gotcha.
did.
I
Yeah,
gotcha. I
yeah,
gotcha.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fair, and I'm okay with where you put him. I'm throwing his story much higher, I think, than you are.
Yeah. No, and I get that. Like, look, you're not wrong to do so, right? Like, this is truly the big bad of the entire story, right? He's the top. He is the top.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, all the people out there playing 40K that think Abaddon's cool. No, Abaddon's a chump. Archeon would one shot this guy.
obviously, okay. Let's grab a couple more here. Varangard, the Swords of Chaos, the Swords of Archeon, right? So I figured this would be a good to follow on his back. Each one is, a Chaos Lord in their own right. There's like
Yep.
they are one in a blah 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 Chaos Lords, who Chaos Lords are one in a blah blah blah. It's that whole thing where they're like
Yeah.
one in a billion get to become Varangard or some insane thing like that, right? So,
Nice attacks, nice rends.
yeah, here's my answer.
Use fight twice. I mean,
Yep.
I think we're starting at pure truth as a starting point with them.
Correct. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. I think they're even better than their story. That's the reality. These things have been the absolute nightmare of fourth. They dominated in a lot of third. They are absolute murder machines. They have been basically propelling S2D to its results. They are one of these. They are the hammer of the game. There is no other hammer in the game scarier than them. Period.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's like start at truth, but yeah, I'd push them above too. Yeah, they're just good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I wish I had the effort to paint 3 models, but also my Slaves of Darkness Force is a lot of old redundant stuff that's in Legacy now, so I haven't had that urge.
Sure. Oh yes, when you're like us, Chuck, where you've been around for so long and you've had the armies come and go. Do you know how many armies? People are like, my army got dropped, and I'm like, it's
Cool.
I'm the James Franco meme or whatever, where it's like first time, I'm up with the noose,
Yeah,
I've had so many armies that I've built that were like full of stuff that doesn't exist anymore, or that's I can't even play with or take anymore, and all this. So yeah,
I
yeah,
know. It took me rebasing all my fantasy 2 rounds and then back to squares to go, I'm never doing this again.
yep.
I'll just buy new models.
There you go.
Ugh.
Okay, Frostlord on Stonehorn. This guy is like the sort of Jarl or whatever of their whole Alferstun or whatever. I don't know the words. Hey, well, if you're still here, you can correct me on all this stuff. But anyways, look, he's the big guy in charge of the whole ogre, Maul tribes, Beastclaw Raider side, right? And there are multiple Frostlords. I'm not saying that. There's not like one big Frostlord. I think there actually is some Overlord or something like that over Frostlord, but
Sure, but yeah, we don't have them yet.
but they're like legendarily horrendously scary warriors, right?
Yep.
Riding this unstoppable ice stone horn thing that has to have like the sort of constantly, it has to have its stone constantly punched and chipped off of it. Alfreston is correct. Yay! I used a correct lore word for these guys. Okay, cool. Thank you, Haywo. And so like again, in the lore, like we said for the early ogres, this is everything we said for the earlier ogres, but more.
Yes.
Right? They're portrayed as just one of the most frightening opponents you can run into. Reality is they're like a 300-point hero that dies pretty fast and easy. That does like okay damage.
320. They're not gonna. I mean, fours to hit kind of sucks. I get the hooves, sure. Spear, like he should be better. I like the damage on the charge. Stone, yeah. Like, why is the Lord hit on fours?
Yeah,
kind of
right.
irks me. Like, I like the rest of his profile, like maybe threes. Honestly, I'd rather them be threes and threes, twos and 2 rend 2 damage with the charge +1. What else is he doing besides charging in and hoping he does his work?
Basically nothing.
Yeah.
I think sadly in the current edition, like the Lead Belchers before him, he has to slide down here into pure lies. He's got a good propagandist writing his story. He's got great PR if you read the story of them. Haywo says, Frost Kings are the highest when there's a few or a council. Most frozen. There you go. Cool.
I'll say, I think the biggest PR of them right now is 3rd edition.
Yeah, sure.
Where you could take 3 of them and just run over armies if they didn't deploy right.
Yeah. History. Yeah, exactly. All right. Teclis.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good old Teclis. All right.
Again, another one of those, like, I'm vying for a title. His would be greatest mage or wizard in the mortal realms. You know, it's like him and Croak and Kairos and those kind of folks who are up at that echelon. Obviously very, very strong in the game, portrayed as the leader of the Lumineth, or one half the leaders of the Lumineth, I suppose.
He's apparently really good with a sword now. You know, who knew? I mean,
yeah. Haywo said Velazda and the Frost Lord are looking at each other like, hey, remember 1st edition when we were amazing? Yeah, you're not wrong. Remember when they actually wrote us with good rules like we were supposed to be scary? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Anyways, Teclis. Yeah, where's this guy living for you?
Oh, I mean, just the fact that he can kind of choose how he's going to cast his spells.
Yep.
Like, that puts him starting at truth. I think in the lore, because let's not forget, he punked Nagash, threw Nagash into a mountain, stabbed him, while also just
he had a little help, but yes,
he had a little help. But also, if you have an army,
there's going to be some Soulblight players, like because we talked about this before, who are going to come after us in the comments, Chuck. I can tell you right now.
That's fine. It's, you know what? It sucks to suck, guys. Sorry. So if you have a whole Night Hunt army rise up and Teclis is like, you're alive again, and you fall to your death, that's pretty good. All right. Let's also remember, back in the old world.
Yep.
This is even before end times. This is before all that stuff that all the people like want to complain about.
When he was on chains and on his knees, and Archeon had a collar around his neck because they were in some kind of, like, I guess, pseudo-consensual kind of weird relationship. I remember that scene.
You remember that? Okay, all right. Now, I was going to talk about the part where Nakara, the Slanesh demon.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Tyrion, where
the name
Tyrion's fighting. Yeah, Tyrion's fighting him off, and Teclis reaches into the flame of Asuryan and briefly touches the essence of Asuryan. Briefly touched the essence of a god before all this, long ago. Once again, it's kind of like the whole Tyrion or Archeon thing, where he's good. He's very good. Maybe he toes into slightly better, but like I put the lore so high with Teclis, with everything he did, that I think Teclis is truth.
I would tend to agree. I think he's portrayed as this like incredible spellcaster and sort of very powerful force. And the reality is that is how he manifests in games. Now, his points cost have largely determined in history whether or not he's taken, you know what I mean? Because sometimes he just gets too expensive to actually take. But regardless of that, like if he shows up on the table, again, because we're not thinking about the points, right? It's more about just like, he's there, however he got there, what's he doing? And the reality is that the way he casts magic, especially in the current edition, is like so crazy. The fact that he can just be like, spell. Woo!
Which
I
does fit.
just do these things,
Yeah.
which fits him perfectly.
Yeah,
Right?
fits perfectly.
Yeah.
But like I said, he touched the essence of Assyrian. Technically, Aisha sacrificed her blood in the end times so he could cast a spell, and Sigmar had to help him get it through. Like, he's done a lot. He's experienced a lot. Not to mention, he had what, 2 wins of magic, and it was the third one that finally killed him.
It was
like,
the third one that killed him. Yeah.
He had 3 realms inside of him before he died. All right, that's pretty baller.
Pretty good.
So, truth at most.
All right. Belthanos.
Can you tell I like elves? Oh, Belthanos.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
Well, this is elf adjacent. Belthanos. So big hunter shows up a lot in the Broken Realm story, where he goes around and goes on his little hunt, rides his big beetle around. I'm gonna tell you what. Again, this guy is portrayed as like a hunter who leads his whole force, and sends like they fly through the forest at incredible speeds to catch their quarry. And he's portrayed as like a pretty competent. Again, he's not portrayed like a god. He's portrayed like an extremely competent hunter, who like tracks people down and is very swift and is very deadly when he gets there and stuff like that. My honest answer: I've played against Belthanos quite a lot, and I think he's very like his rules very much reflect how he's written in the lore. I think he's very much truth.
I would have one caveat to maybe put his toe down under truth a little bit.
Sure.
Because in the lore and the stories we had, his horn that gets sounded keeps getting heard and keeps not essentially corrupting, but like drawing people towards the hunt. And we don't have a mechanic like that in his rule set.
That's fair.
I think we did in the first edition of him. I think we had that, and it kind of went away. I get why it's not like necessarily a needed thing for him, but like just maybe a pixel. Just maybe a pixel.
Okay. Good. Nope, I'm with that. All right. Let's see. I've got so many more, but we're not going to do them all. That's just like this has gone on for a while. Okay.
You want to do a few? You want to do a few quick rounds, like just like
I want to do some. Yeah, we'll do some fun. Yeah, we could do that without all the discussion. We'll go into lightning round here. I want to do 2 more and then we'll do lightning round. Okay.
All right. Gotcha.
All right. Okay, because I got 2 more that I think are going to foster some discussion. So first off, Usharan, the Mortarch of Delusion or whatever. He's portrayed as like, I really like his portrayal in the story. I have to say,
yes,
I like that. He's sort of
cleverly
portrayed, well written,
like almost like that idiot. Like people underestimate him. It's really fascinating in the story of Warhammer because the people we keep overestimating are constantly stupid.
Yes. Like, he's clearly very smart and very clever, and is mad, like, how much he's mad and how much it's an act and what he plots and plans. It's so, like, I just love the way he's written. There's a scene where he's with Neferata, and he just cows her. Okay?
Like, he is a beast. And,
yes.
like, and to be fair, his attacks are beastly. He has a lot of attacks that can do some good work. More importantly, he should be a leader of his flesh eater courts, and like in the hero phase, the epicenter of delusion, that's a pretty spot on thing.
Captures it very
well.
What
he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of the rare ones where he's a buff piece as well as a combat piece, and they
actually captured both.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's truth. He's living. He's
definitely
he's living in truth.
And honestly, I'm glancing real quick to see if he goes above truth. That's the only, I'm not looking for below because like I don't see how he go below.
No, definitely not. Funny story from my game this last weekend. One of my games, the game where I played with Skaven, I was playing against my buddy was running an OBR force, but he had the regiment that has Usharan in it, so he had like that whole whatever that boils down to, the FEC regiment with like Usharan and bats and the bat riders and stuff. Yeah. And I summoned the Kronspine. And then the Kronspine like failed a charge, and then the Kronspine spent the rest of the entire game. Usharan was sitting there casting the "Go attack your friends" rule on my Kronspine, and I kept accidentally having models next to Kronspine. Kronspine never attacked him, never rolled an attack against him, attacked me 3 times. My own summon. It's fun spell.
That's great.
Madness Delirium spell.
That's amazing. Good.
Anyways, he's living in truth. Okay, last one that's going to engender the big discussion, and then we'll go into lightning round. You know who it is.
I know.
You know who it is.
Marathi Kane.
Correct. I didn't even need to say it. I didn't even need to say it. That's right. Now she's going to have a challenge here, Chuck, because in the
Oh, I have
story,
thoughts.
she's portrayed so strongly. Okay? She,
So,
as we have said before, is probably the best narrative character with the most growth, change, and arc and influence in the world.
within Age of Sigmar,
Yes,
yes.
within Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, yes. I'd argue Alariel overall for whole Warhammer, but for Age of Sigmar, it's Alariel. Or no, sorry, it's Marathi. Most growth, most impactful, has done the most actual meaningful change inside of the entire setting. And then as soon as they stopped using her as a plot piece, things got a little bit stale. Other than the Skaven exploded into part of the realm that we don't care about anyway. Sorry. Um,
Agreed.
here's one reason why at the start I was like, do we care about points or not?
Sure.
Because 100%. If we cared about points, I would have to take Marathi Kane and the Shadow Queen together.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to preface this. Marathi Kane and the Shadow Queen, in the lore, Marathi Kane's not controlling the Shadow Queen as much as she used to, and she doesn't like that, and she's not letting people know. So, for this discussion, I am separating those two beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you two different avenues here. So, if I separate those two beings, Marathi Kane buffs the daughters, does good work, does not want to be in a fight, she will die. Shadow Queen wants to get up there and mix it up and buff her girls. Rules on the tin, they're both truth.
Okay.
You treat them together as an entity, pure lies. It does not fit what she's doing anymore. It does not fit how she should be functioning. They should have taken this opportunity with the index to split her into two separate beings fully.
Continue the story.
You continue the story that she's losing control. Even if you had some other stipulations, I don't know what they would be. I don't want to extrapolate that madness yet. If you treat them as a single entity, which is how the rules do, she's pure lies.
Huh. Interesting.
Despite the fact that she is amazing, and I love her, she can't die quickly.
Yeah.
She puts out good work.
One of the coolest rules in AOS.
But the fact that she is a single piece still, as opposed to that separate piece, which is what the lore is dictating, makes it pure lies for me. And I say that out of more emphasis of I want a better story from Marathi Kane, and you're giving it to me, and you just stopped.
All right. Well, you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do, Chuck? We're going to do something special here.
All right.
We're going to go like this. We're going to put her in both.
Ooh, love it.
There you go. Easy.
Granted, and everyone knows me, I'm a hopeless romantic. When Marathi went into the belly of Slanesh to steal the Phoenix King's souls,
yep,
and she found an Aryan and she hesitated and he split her.
Yep.
I don't think that was him going, no, you don't get the fight, you don't get me, I'm out. I think that was more of him showing the mercy and be like, I know the good in you because you were my wife. I'm removing the bad. You can be better, and I'm shedding this part for you. That's what I believe is the lore.
Interesting.
And I will always believe it because I'll never probably fully write it. So I get to have that truth in my heart forever.
Okay. All right.
So if you have separate beings, at least truth. Together, lies.
Okay. There you go. We put
I'm
her
curious
in both.
your thoughts.
No, I love your breakdown. I would never go against you on Marathi. Come on now. It's crazy. I love your breakdown. I thought it was very well reasoned, and I support it 100%. I agree with you completely. All right, now it's time for rapid fire, everybody. Here we go. We're just gonna shout them out. You ready?
You ready to realize Chuck doesn't know all the rules? Let's go.
That's okay.
That's what this is gonna be.
That's okay. It's all right. Eltharion. I think Eltharion lives in just reality. He's pretty good. He can't be as good as he's portrayed in the story.
I would put him in truth, but I understand your reasoning.
Okay, we'll toe a little bit up there. Thankful.
Ooh, pure lies.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give him a tiny toe into into just reality. But yeah, sure. mostly lies. Yes, sadly. All right. The little Morbeg Knights. So this is the little FEC Bat Knights, who are punching way above their weight. In the lore, they're just like weird ghouls riding bat knights. They're not that amazing or special. In the game, they're like way good and strong. They're better than the story. It's just these little dumb knights.
That's fair. Yep. Agree with that.
Manfred, Von Karstein,
Ooh.
Mr. Sneaky Deaky. Yeah, I agree. I think he's largely lived in truth for basically all of AOS. He is a little schemer, a little fighter,
Yeah.
does both, betrays both, clever,
Plays both
tactical.
lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Lord Bastion Carthalos.
Ooh, I actually want to say better than lore.
I was going to go in the same place. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right.
On the table, I think he's actually really good. He's such a fun piece. He's nearly impossible to kill because unless you take him out in one shot, which is very hard, like 3 up, 4 up, because he will just self heal back up to full like almost every combat.
Yeah, and I think part of that might be too because we haven't seen him do a whole ton in the lore. He's in the Black Talon series, but more of like a leader as opposed to like actually doing stuff. I'd love to see him in a battle scene in that anime.
Agreed. And he has like an incredibly utilitous, awesome ability to reposition people and stuff. Like, yeah, he's good.
He's better than Prime.
By far. Cast said Manfred's rules perfectly reflect his lore. Yeah, I agree. It's truth. Gotcha. It's just Manfred lives in truth somehow, which I think he would find offensive. The mega boss on Maw Crusher, lies. No, just lies.
Is he full lies? Okay, I was leaning lower, but yeah, I'll trust you on that one. You played at Army definitely more, and you just did a review on it, so.
Yes, he's boy. Okay. Actually, we'll wait for a second for him. I picked the Ironsweld cannon or whatever, the Cities of Sigmar cannon, because in the story these things are so dangerous and deadly when they just like start unloading into the enemy and just shredding them. And in reality, that was a lie.
Well, I mean, it's better than Old World cannons kind of right now.
No, that's good.
Not better than Empire Old World cannons.
Gotcha.
They're better than Dwarf. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, lies were fine.
Dwarf cannon's not very good right now, huh? Okay. Okay. What about that? Does Dwarf still have the flame cannon thing?
Yeah, they do. It's just cannons overall got nerfed, which is not a bad thing, but they gave Empire a slightly better version of the cannon, which doesn't make any sense.
The old Empire Great Cannon, yes.
Yeah, it's better than a Dwarf cannon, which, that's a whole topic. Gotcha.
Lastly, Catacross, I think that's everybody. Am I missing anyone? Oh, I got a couple more over here. Sorry. No, I'm not going to drag all of them. Okay, cool. We'll go back. That's fine. All right. So where was I? Catacross. Yes. Just reality.
I don't know.
I think he's really good, but he's like, again, he can't be as tactically in the story. Most of his power comes from his tactical genius, and it's just really hard to actually portray that in rules because ultimately a player is making decisions, not Catacross.
Yeah, and like his rules can't offset poor tactics in a while or for a lot of it, but also too, I like that he's been shown like, oh, he's like Lord of Death, but he's been shown to be afraid of Archeon because of the sword now.
Yeah.
He still feels the pain. Like that's pretty cool.
Yep. Doom Flayers, better than the story. There's very little story of them, very little lore. They're incredible. One of my favorite units in the whole game. I put them in here because I felt like saying that? Yes, I did. Okay.
No notes.
No notes. Are there a ton of Skaven units in here? Yes, I know them very well. Get off my back. Okay. Gut Rippers. Boy, if we had done this a little while ago, they would have been better than the story. Because they're, little sneaky deaky little lunatics that sort of stab you in a swamp. And boy, did they catch the Nerf bat all the way around in the newest tome. And so Gut Rippers portrayed as these sort of swamp hunter killers that are just like going to steal you in the night has unfortunately just become a pack of lies.
But they have a new hero. Look at the new hero instead.
No, that's the little dude, not the Hobgrots. The main work.
The main one. Okay, sorry, my bad.
You're okay.
You can see I don't like Cruel Boys at all.
You're fine. And then lastly, the Vermin Lords, which in the story are portrayed as so terrifying and horrible that people like die simply from being in their presence.
The first true demons of the Skaven race, essentially.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they're crap, and they go down here in pure lies. That's because they're bad. So
I could take 20. I could take 10 snakes and shoot them off.
Oh my god, they die so easy. They're just made of paper, and they do basically nothing. Hey, there you go. We got there. Nice. It's actually pretty good spread. Not many units are better than the story. Okay, that's a pretty rarefied list. But there's quite a lot of only truth. Like that's it's a pretty solid little pack of folks there. Um, and yes, the Vermin Lords are just like pure absolute lies. It's horrible. But only truth, we got some good stuff. Like Neff, a lot of the characters, and some units too, like Blight Kings and Brutes, the little goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Odd minis. Did we get every faction but Fire Slayers? Yeah, yes, because I looked at all the Fire Slayers and I was like, I don't know which one of these to pick, and I don't know how I would tell the difference or do anything with them. I was like, I don't. I'm
So,
sorry,
real
guys.
quick, bonus, got wreck. Pure lies compared to the story. Done. He's a Fire Slayer, right?
Yes.
That won't make anybody mad when I say that.
There you go. No, I think that's true.
Like,
I mean, there was a while where he was like living in truth. But it's just not there anymore. Yeah,
he's not there anymore.
Exactly. Okay. How did Thankful end up so low? Because compared to his sort of presence and genius and capabilities in the story, he just doesn't live up to that on the tabletop.
He is the reason the Council of 13 was convinced to essentially move with the help of, obviously with the help of what's his face, the main Vermin King, Screech Vermin King.
Lord Screech, yeah.
Yeah. Screech backed him, and Thankful convinced them we need to move the Underblight to Chaos Realm. So, like, I'm sorry, you do that, and then you go on the table, and the only thing you can do is kill some infantry troops because you have flame attacks. Right. Little pure lies to me there. You have a lot to live up to, Thankful. You haven't done it yet.
Yep. Yeah, I did bring in, like, I grabbed some from every army, Sean Blake. So, like, I didn't do, like, Durthu and the Lady of Vines and, like, everyone. Like, I tried to grab a nice little panoply from across all the armies, right? So, there you go. He is a huge loser in the stories, I guess, Arrested at Wolf House. That's true. So, you know what? I'll bring Thankful up just slightly because you're not wrong. He does lose a lot.
He's only a loser when Gotrek's involved.
That's true.
He wins when he's not around.
Yeah. So I'll bring him up. You sold me on that Arrested. I'll give him a little bump.
I will not argue with Waffle House.
Yep. All right. Well, there we go. Chuck, hey, thank you so much, buddy. This was a lot of fun.
It was a fun show. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that there was a little bit more of a spread than my initial cheeky response when you.
Yeah, you were worried. You were like, "Oh my gosh, aren't they all going to end up?" I was like, "No. Trust me. I think I was pretty sure we were going to find an interesting spread, and I thought it would be interesting to see how like some of the characters. One of the things that's funny is, you know, we did a show a while back where we talked about like the lore of the special characters and stuff, right, and how cool they are, and the reality is that it almost works against you if you're portrayed in the lore as being like amazing cool. Because your rules have to then like get up on that level, right? And that's like a high bar, but some get there. Not everybody, but some get there. So
that's where Sigmar is probably in the best boat,
right?
Because he's not a model, and his lore can be as amazing as it could be.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's. But also too, I want my Marathi, I want my Ilaria, I want my Teknos. Give me Tyrion and give me Malarian or Malekith. Like, I'm sorry, it's been 10 years. Give me those two. Just stop.
How do we not have that stuff yet? It's so crazy. It's insane to me.
I'm gonna go on an elf rant if I don't start soon.
No, I understand. All right, well, hey, thank you everybody out there for listening. Don't forget to hit like or subscribe or do all those things on your way out. Don't forget you can support the channel. Thank you everybody who super chatted. You can drop a super chat anytime. But don't forget you can also support us through the links down below. All the affiliate links if you want to grab, you know, your painting light. Some new paints. We got a new link down there for Michigan Toy Soldier, which is awesome. Saves you 5%. You get all the hobby supplies you could ever want. They carry all the cool and unique stuff, so do go check all that out. There's also, of course, our Patreon down there and the merch store down there and all those sorts of things, so do hit that stuff up. Chuck, hey, thank you very much. Don't forget to check out Chuck on Strength Hammer. His channel will be linked down there. Hades, it's good to have you back, buddy. But all of you out there, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And as always, Vince will remember that he doesn't have his right thing up on his other screen that he needs to actually shut this stream off. That's usually what happens at the end of this show. As always, we'll see you next Wednesday.